Hello everyone, this is part 30 of What If Naruto's mother was Tsunade Senju, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Previously on Hope of the Senju clan. Realizing the danger they were in, Sasuke struggled to get up but his body refused to do so. Damn it, we're finished. Sasuke thought angrily, as he couldn't believe that it was all going to end here. It will take nothing short of a miracle to save us now. Now that he had finally dealt with the final annoyance, Gaara prepared to finish Sakura off, and planned to deal with Ino and Pakken next. Leaving Sasuke last, so that could savor killing him, after all the pain he had caused him. Hidden in the trees, a terrified Temari could only watch in horror, as her younger brother transformed more and more into the monster that had haunted her nightmares for most of her life. Knowing that there was nothing she could do, for as far as she was concerned, the three genin were as good as dead, no one could stop Gaara now. But just as Gaara was about to deliver the final blow to Sakura and end her life, a large crescent-shaped blade of wind appeared and severed Gaara's demonic hand from the rest of his arm. After which Gaara was sent flying backwards into a large tree several meters away, thanks to a powerful kick to the face from a yellow blur, which suddenly appeared in front of him. After crashing into the tree, Gaara raised his head to see who had kicked him. When he looked up, he was surprised to see that the person was none other than Naruto, who was now standing next to the injured Sasuke and in front of the now knocked out Sakura, with a serious look on his face, despite having a toad on his head, as he held his katana forward. Looks like I just made it. With Naruto and the others. Naruto, said Sasuke in surprise after seeing the blonde boy. Glancing at Sasuke and seeing his weakened stated, Naruto just nodded before glancing over at Sakura and then Ino, who were both knocked out. Seeing this, Naruto growled, since if there was one thing he couldn't stand it was seeing his friends hurt. Sasuke, can you move? I think so, grunted Sasuke as he slowly pushed himself up. Good. Because I need you to free Sakura and then get Ino and protect them both, since they might get caught in the crossfire when I attack Gaara. Naruto, you can't be serious. That guy isn't normal, Sasuke warned, while looking at Gaara who was staring at them. Even you can't take him on by yourself given the state you're in. Looking at Naruto, Sasuke could tell that Naruto wasn't exactly 100%, given how he was panting little, indicating that he had been running at top speed to get here in time. Also given Naruto's state after his last battle, the Uchiha wondered if the blonde had any chakra left to fight with. Don't worry about me, I'll be fine, just protect the girls, Naruto said before taking Gamakichi off his head and putting him next to Sasuke. Sorry Gamakichi, but it's probably safer if you stay here with Sasuke, you might get hit when I start fighting. Okay Naruto, just make sure you stay safe, since you owe me some snacks, said the small toad, oh and give that creepy guy one from me. Smirking at this, Naruto just nodded, before jumping over to another tree, ensuring that Gaara's attention was focused on him and that he wouldn't go after the others. Watching Naruto move away from Sasuke and onto a large tree branch to his far right, Gaara turned to face the young Senju heir, who just stared coldly at him, without as much as a hit of fear in his eyes. Seeing this, the young Suna genin grinned before breaking into a crazed laugh. Hey, haha, yes, at last you finally appeared. I knew you would eventually come. The Uchiha proved to be entertaining for a time, but now at last you've come, and the true battle can finally begin. After saying this, Gaara then allowed his sand to cover his entire upper body and took on an ever more demonic-looking appearance than before, shocking Naruto and the others. The only part of his body that was not covered in sand was his legs. This should prove to be interesting, thought Sai, who had been following Naruto since he left the stadium and was hiding in a large tree and prepared to watch the battle. After getting over his shock of seeing Gaara's new appearance, a now frowning Naruto sheathed his sword. Seeing this, Gaara also frowned. What are you doing? Don't tell me you're planning to run away. Not on your life, Naruto replied angrily, you told me a while back that you wanted to see me angry again. Well congratulations, you've got your wish, as nothing pisses me off more than when people start hurting my friends. Enter Naruto OST Heavy Violence. After Naruto said this, the two young shinobi stared angrily at one another and prepared to attack. Naruto made the first move. Within a blink of an eye, the blonde disappeared and reappeared right in front of the Suna genin and delivered a supercharged punch to his face, sending the red-headed boy flying backwards. Fast, was all Temari could think, who watching from her hiding spot, after which she saw Naruto appear on Gaara's right side, while he was still in midair, and sent his crashing right through a tree with powerful kick. As Gaara was smashed through the tree, Naruto reappeared behind Gaara in midair, and once again hit him with another powerful kick, that sent the boy flying in the opposite direction and into another tree. How is possible? Gaara is actually being overpowered, thought Temari in shock. Is this the power of the Senju clan? What's wrong? Gaara had enough already, because I'm only getting warmed up, Naruto yelled as he landed on a tree directly in front of Gaara, who was slowly getting back up on his feet and glaring angrily at Naruto. Get up, the blonde boy yelled. I'm not done with you yet. You're going to pay for what you did to my friends. Damn him, my sand can barely protect me from his attacks, Gaara thought angrily as his sand slowly reformed itself. Not willing to let Naruto hammer away at his defense with his superhuman strength, Gaara quickly opened his mouth and fired a massive blast of wind at Naruto, who quickly drew his katana and used his Sarasufu wind slash to cut right through Gaara's wind attack, causing it to dissipate and fly straight towards Gaara. But before the fast-moving attack could hit the Suna boy, Gaara jumped into the air, causing the wind blade to slice right through the tree. After avoiding the attack, Gaara then extended his demonic sand arm forward at Naruto in an attempt to grab him. Seeing this, Naruto immediately resheathed his katana and sidestepped Gaara's arm and grabbed hold of it with both his arms and used his super strength to swing the Suna Jinchuriki around and into another tree. After slamming Gaara into another three, Naruto then formed a single hand seal and used the Kage Bunshin no Jutsu shadow clone technique to create several replicas of himself and had him attack his opponent. As the clones leapt forward and flew towards the large dust cloud that formed around Gaara, after he was slammed into the tree, they suddenly heard Gaara yell, Futon, Mugen Sajin Daitopa, wind style, infinite sand cloud great breakthrough, from within the dust cloud. After which a massive blast of sand and wind erupted, blowing away the dust cloud and destroying the clones in one go. Once clones were all gone, Gaara then yelled, Suna Shuriken, Sand Shuriken, as he swung his arms and fired dozens of sand-shaped shurikens from his arms. Acting fast, Naruto quickly redrew his katana again and used the Hin no Jutsu flying swallow technique to cover his katana with wind chakra and used it to destroy the sand shuriken as they were about to hit him. When all the sand shuriken were dealt with, Naruto then jumped towards Gaara, who unleashed yet another massive blast of wind from his mouth and fired it at Naruto, who then used his Sarasufu technique to cut through the wind attack again, and sliced through the large tree branch Gaara had just been standing on, before he was forced to jump away, causing it to fall to the ground. Seeing Gaara evade his attack, Naruto then quickly created another clone of himself and used it to throw him at Gaara, who was still flying in midair and could not avoid Naruto's sword slash, which severed Gaara's tail from him, causing it to revert into sand and fall to the ground. After cutting Gaara's tail off, Naruto then quickly propelled himself off the side of a nearby tree and delivered a powerful spinning kick into Gaara's back, damaging his Jinchuriki form again and smashing him through two large trees, before being punched again in the face by the clone Naruto made earlier and being sent flying backwards into yet another tree. Ua! Cried Gaara in pain as he crashed into the tree. Gaara! Cried Temari. Looks like Senju is holding nothing back, Sai muttered to himself, who was rather impressed with how well Naruto was dealing with Gaara. Those were some nice moves the kid just pulled, commented Pakin as he watched the battle unfold. So that's the Naruto kid Kakashi has been telling me about. He sure wasn't kidding when he said the kid was a powerhouse like his mother. Alright Naruto, sock it to him, cheered Gamakichi. Unbelievable, it took everything I had just to wound Gaara, and that was just when he was partially transformed, thought Sasuke in disbelief. And yet Naruto is knocking him around like he was some kind of ball and damaging him in ways I never could. Hey duck butt head, didn't Naruto tell you to do something? Gamakichi said, as he looked up at the Uchiha, who was still watching Naruto fight Gaara. Realizing that the little toad was right, Sasuke slowly made his way over to Sakura and freed her from the large sand arm. But before he went over, he spared an angry glare at the small orange toad for what he just called him After being smashed into the tree, a badly injured Gaara slowly got back onto his feet. His Jinchuriki form was already in a sorry state and was struggled to reform due to all the damage he took. Had the sand not absorbed the majority of Naruto's attack, Gaara was certain his body would be in shambles. Just as his Jinchuriki form had reformed, he heard Naruto's voice above him, shouting out, "Suten, Mizurappa, water style, wild water wave." When Gaara looked up, he saw Naruto standing up on a large tree overlooking him and spewing out a large stream of water at him. At the same time, a second Naruto appeared on Gaara's left and spat severed large blasts of water at him from his mouth. When the attacks hit, Gaara was able to withstand them thanks to the sand that covered his body. But when the attacks ended, the Suna genin could not help but wonder what the young Senju was up to. Since water attacks of those levels would not hurt him in his current form, the most they could do was wet his sand. He of course soon got his answer when a third Naruto appeared in front of him and hit him right in the stomach with an enhanced punch. But the big difference in this punch was the effect it had, where it not only sent Gaara flying through 3 trees this time, but it also destroyed most of the sand around his body and crippled him. Gaara. No, he's seriously hurt. Temari thought fearfully as she watched her younger brother smash through 3 trees and crash into a 4th. Anya, cried Gaara in pain from the devastating punch. What's going on? What happened? How did he break through my sand so easily? Why didn't it absorb the force of the punch? Did you really think that I spent all my time training in just my Mokuton bloodline limit and Kenjutsu? Naruto asked as he and his 2 clones stood on a large tree opposite Gaara, looking down on him. I also spent the past month coming up with a way to defeat you ultimate defense. Your sand is fast and strong, especially when it is compressed. But that's only when it's dry. When it's wet, it's no better than mud. Impossible. A stunned Temari thought, he actually found a way to defeat Gaara's sand defense and make it worthless. Not bad for a blonde, Sai thought to himself. Now I'm going to end this. Naruto said, and he started to form a long series of various hand seals, which Temari recognized from watching Naruto's battle with Yugito. At the same time, Naruto started to gather a large amount of moisture from the air and the trees, causing many of the surrounding trees to dry up and wither. When he finished, Naruto then yelled, "Suten, Suiruden no Jutsu, water style, water dragon bullet technique," where a massive dragon made out of water formed around him and then headed straight for the injured Gaara. At the same time, Naruto's 2 clones, who had been busy gathering their chakra into their hands and converting it into lightning, released their lightning into the water dragon and yelled, "Suiruden, lightning water dragon bullet." From his position, the injured Gaara, who could not move thanks to his injuries, watched in horror as the massive lightning-enhanced water dragon flew towards him at immense speed, and struck him with tremendous force. That sent him through the tree and crashing into the ground with incredible force, causing a large explosion that covered much of the ground below in dust. End Naruto OST Heavy Violence. After a few minutes the dust finally settled, showing Gaara laying the middle of a large crater, conscious but unable to move. Thanks to his injuries and because his body was numb from the lightning that had run through his body when he was hit by the attack. Gaara. A worried Temari thought when she saw her brother's state. How is this possible? How can anyone, let alone a kid like him, be able to completely overpower Gaara in his current form? It should be impossible. Nice one, Naruto, cheered Gamakichi. How does he keep doing it? Thought Sasuke in awe, as he carried the now free Sakura on his back, and went over to the unconscious Ino. Unbelievable, I don't believe my eyes, muttered Pakken, who was standing next to Ino after seeing Naruto's last attack. This guy, Gaara thought painfully as he stared up at Naruto, just what is he, where does he get all this strength and power from? After thinking this, Gaara then remembered what Naruto said to him when he confronted him several weeks back. Enter flashback. What is your goal? Gaara asked. What? Replied the Senju heir. Why do you seek power? For a moment Naruto said nothing and just stared back at Gaara, unsure why he had asked him this. But eventually he spoke, I want to become strong because I want to protect the people I care about. End flashback. After remembering Naruto's words from back then and remembering how Naruto said he was going to make him pay for attacking his friends, Gaara then started to remember his own childhood, and how people feared and hated him, how he was always alone with no friends, his only companion being the sand that protected him, like a mother's embrace. Remembering the pain and anguish he suffered when growing up, He also remembered how Naruto said he pitied him when he said that he had no one he cared about or would risk his life for. Angered by Naruto's words and the memories of his harsh childhood, Gaara swore to himself that he would not lose to someone like Naruto, who believed that by protecting others was the source of strength. He would not lose to someone who had no hatred and fought for others instead of himself. At the same time, Naruto ordered one of his two clones to jump forward and to finish Gaara off. There's no way, there is no way, Gaara thought over and over in his head, as he saw the clone falling towards his with his fist raised, before shouting, "There's no way I will lose to someone like you." In that moment a massive amount of sand suddenly exploded from the ground underneath Gaara and flew straight into the air, destroying the clone that was about to attack Gaara. After which a massive cloud of smoke suddenly erupted, forcing Naruto, his clones and everyone else to move back. When the smoke cleared, they saw Gaara's fully released form, which towered over them like a small mountain. "What is that?" Sasuke asked himself as he carried to two girls and stood next to Pakken, who knew this wasn't good. He's done it, Temari thought fearfully, he's finally unleashed his perfect form. This is not good, Sai thought with a large frown, where he prepared to move away. Fuck. The Senju heir cursed when he saw Gaara's new form. That must be the released form of his Biju, damn it, this is exactly what I hoped wouldn't happen. I should have finished him off sooner when I had the chance. There's no way I can use Hokage Shiki Jijin Jutsu Kaku and Nitten Sushu Hokage style 60-year-old technique in closed hermitage entering society with bliss-bringing hands even if I was at 100%, it just too big, looks like I have no other choice. Sasuke. Naruto cried as he turned to the raven-haired Uchiha, "Take Sakura-chan and Ino-chan and get as far back as you possibly can, if you stay here you're likely to get killed." Naruto. "Don't tell me you're actually thinking of taking on that thing." Sasuke yelled back, "Not even you could possibly beat something that enormous, we all need to get out of here now. This is no time to argue, just go, I'll be fine," Naruto replied before turning to another direction. "I suggest that you get out of here too, fangirl." Surprised by how Naruto knew she was nearby, the Hokage's daughter remained silent and before she could say anything, she saw Naruto and his last remaining clone bite their right thumbs and started to perform a set of familiar hand seals. Enter Naruto OST Sannin Battle Theme Original. Summoning. Temari realized, don't tell me he's actually going to try and fight Gaara. There's no way he can summon anything that is large or powerful enough to stand up to Gaara in his perfect form, it's not possible. What the hell are you doing, Naruto? Sasuke thought, who also recognized the hand set. Could he actually be trying to summon what I think he's going to summon? Sai muttered to himself when he saw the two Narutos forming hand seals. If this is how you want to do things, Gaara, that's fine by me, let's take this fight to the next level. The two Narutos shouted together as they looked up at their adversary. At the same time Naruto made contact with the Kyuubi. "All right you stupid fox, it's rent time, I need your chakra and I am going to need twice the amount of chakra you gave me when I first used it." "And why exactly should I help you?" asked Kyuubi with a slight growl after Naruto called him stupid. "Because if you don't then he'll probably kill me, and I'll be sure to take you with me," Naruto replied. "So tell me what would bother you more? Dying along with a lowly human or having your host losing to the host of a weakling like Shukaku? Since that is basically what would happen should I lose this fight." At the mention of losing to Shukaku, Naruto could hear the Kyuubi growling angrily, unaware of the small smirk that appeared on the blonde's face, who was silently congratulating himself on playing on the fox's ego, after hearing the Kyuubi refer to Shukaku as a weakling in previous conversations. It was obvious that the fox had very little respect for his fellow Biju, hence the idea of losing to him in any way would greatly aggravate the nine-tailed demon. "Very well boy, I will give you what you need, just make sure you do not lose to that worthless fool Shukaku," the Kyuubi replied before sending Naruto his chakra. After receiving the Kyuubi's chakra and finishing their hand seals, the two Narutos slammed their hands onto the tree branch they were standing on and yelled Kuchio's no Jutsu summoning technique. After slamming their hands onto the tree branch, the surrounding area was filled by two gigantic clouds of smoke, forcing the people below to once again move back. As the smoke slowly began to blow away, two gigantic figures could be made out. But once the smoke finally blew away, they became fully visible, and revealed that Naruto and his clone had summoned a giant slug and toad, who were equal in size to Gaara's current form. But the thing that shocked most people was that these were not just any giant slug and toad. These were the leaders of their respected tribes, the Slug Queen Katsuyu and the Great Chief Toad Gamabunta, the personal summonses of the Slug Princess Tsunade and the Toad Sage Jiraiya. Are those? A shocked Sasuke thought, when he saw the two summonses, recognizing them from the descriptions he had read about them from books on the Sannin. But how? Thought a wide-eyed Temari, who like Sasuke recognized the two summonses from the stories she had heard from veteran shinobi in her village about the Densetsu no Sannin, legendary three ninja. It's amazing that he summoned just one of them, let alone the two of them in a situation like this, said Pakken in awe. Incredible, muttered a surprised Sai, who had a shocked expression on his face, which was extremely rare for anyone to see, given his root training. Danzo-sama will indeed be interested to know this. End Naruto OST Sannin Battle Theme Original. Naruto, Sasuke thought his disbelief over what the blonde had just done. How do you keep doing things like this? At the same time, as he looked up at his blonde comrade, standing up on Gamabunta's head. Sasuke could not help but be reminded of an image he had once seen of the massive toad, with the Yondaime Hokage standing on his head, just like Naruto. This image grew even stronger, when Sasuke thought on the resemblance between Naruto and the former Hokage, which was only highlighted by the coat Naruto was wearing. In fact, if Sasuke hadn't known any better, he would have believed that the two were related. What the hell is this guy? A worried Temari thought, who couldn't believe that Naruto summoned two such enormous summonses to fight for him. In Konoha. Currently inside the village, a massive three-headed snake rampaged through the village, destroying entire buildings and swatting away any brave Konoha shinobi that dared to try and get in its way. Just when the massive summon was about to crush several Konoha shinobi who had tried to block its path, the three shinobi suddenly saw several dozen chains made out of chakra erupted out of the ground and wrapped themselves around the snake's body, pinning it to the ground. When the three shinobi turned around, they saw Kushina standing not far from them, with her hand touching the ground. Uzumaki-san, said one of the shinobi, who recognized the red-headed Jonin. Don't move, yelled Kushina, who could see the giant snake struggling and trying to break free. Not wanting to give it a chance, Kushina quickly held out her hand and fired three more chakra chains with spike tips, which flew through the air and went underneath the snake's chins and then up through their heads, killing the three-headed creature instantly and causing it to puff away. Once the snake was dealt with, the three Jonin quickly thanked the red-headed woman for saving them. After which the four of them jumped onto the rooftop of a nearby building and then made their way to another one of the giant snakes. But as they leaped across the buildings, Kushina suddenly heard one of the other shinobi speak. What the hell are those things? Said one of the shinobi as he pointed to the distance to three massive figures. When she turned, a look of concern appeared on Kushina's face, as she realized who and what the three large figures were. Even though it was hard to tell given how far they were, she could still just make out their appearance. The large one to the left is Sabaku no Gaara, Gaara of the Sand Waterfall, Jinchuriki of the Ichibi no Shukaku, the one-tailed Shukaku in his fully released form. The other two facing him are the Chief Toad Gamabunta and the Slug Queen Katsuyu. Wait, does that mean that Tsunade-sama and Jiraiya-sama are facing off against Tsunade's Jinchuriki? Asked one of the other shinobi. No, replied Kushina, Jiraiya-sama and Tsunade-sama are both fighting with the Sandaime Hokage-sama at the stadium. Then who summoned them? Asked the same shinobi, since last he checked only Jiraiya and Tsunade could summon those two summonses. My student, Naruto. Naruto. The shinobi asked in confusion, not really understanding the female Uzumaki, until it suddenly hit him like a ton of bricks. Wait, as in Senju Naruto, Tsunade-sama's son. After Kushina nodded in confirmation, the three shinobi jaws hit the ground and then went back and forth to the three large creatures and Kushina. But how is that even possible? Asked the third shinobi, who was the first to come out of his stupor. I understand the boy may be gifted, but still to be able to summon one such as Gamabunta-sama or Katsuyu-sama, it goes far beyond normal shinobi skill, let alone summoning both of them. Trust me, Naruto is anything but normal, said Kushina. Besides, it can be no one else, since as I said, Tsunade-sama and Jiraiya-sama are with the Hokage-sama and Naruto is the only person who has ever been allowed to form a contract with both the slugs and the toads. When Kushina finished, the three shinobi were left stunned, since it was unheard of for anyone, let alone genin, to form a contract with not one but two separate summons, especially ones of such size. As the three shinobi tried to sort this new information out, Kushina stared at the three large beings. After seeing Gaara in his release form, Kushina wanted nothing more than to race over and help her student. But if she did, there would be no one left to stop the snakes from destroy the village, since more of Konoha's shinobi were busy getting the civilians to the shelters and holding back the enemy. There was also the fact that she was too far away to be of any use, and by the time she got to Naruto and the others it would be too late to do anything. This left her with only one option, to continue her mission in stopping the snakes and trust that Naruto, Gamabunta and Katsuyu would be able to stop the mad Jinchuriki. Come you three, stop daydreaming, we have overgrown reptiles to deal with, Kushina yelled, waking the three shinobi from their stupors and causing them to follow after her, as she raced off to deal with the next snake. With Naruto. After summoning Gamabunta and Katsuyu, Naruto, who was atop Gamabunta's head, fell to his knee panting heavily. Like many times before, using the Kyuubi's chakra had left its toll on the young Senju's body, leaving him weak and exhausted. Even with the food pill that he took earlier, Naruto found himself feeling extremely tired and worn. Not even his clone was immune from the side effects of using the Kyuubi's chakra. Given how it disappeared in a puff of smoke, shortly after summoning Katsuyu. But despite the side effects of using the Kyuubi's chakra, Naruto was still quite pleased with himself, since with Gamabunta and Katsuyu fighting with him, he could take on Gaara in his current form. Yes, yes, yes. Gaara shouted excitedly in his new form, followed by an insane laugh, after seeing Naruto summon the two massive summonses. You are the perfect prey, even now, your power continues to grow and you continue to challenge me. When I kill you, I will truly have proven my existence to the world. What the hell is going on here? Spoke Gamabunta suddenly, before looking up at Naruto on his head. You again, what the hell do you want? Grumbled the Toad Chief. Hello Naruto Dono, I am pleased to see you again, do you require my assistance? The Slug Queen asked after turning to look at Naruto. Hey, Naruto greeted with a tired smile and way, sorry to bother you too, but I need both your help to defeat this guy. Huh, said Gamabunta, before he and Katsuyu looked over at Gaara. Suna no Shukaku of the sand, said the large toad boss with a frown, recognizing the large Biju. That's him, I'm fighting his host Gaara, who transformed into this, which is why I need your help, answered Naruto, believing the two summonses would help him. Forget it, replied Gamabunta suddenly. What? Shouted Naruto, not believing that the large toad just told him that he was abandoning him in his hour of need. Why the hell should I fight a guy like him? Asked the Toad Chief, it's just plain stupid, only an idiot would take him head on. Why? Because you told Sennin, Ka-chan and the others that you would make me one of your subordinate and help me out when I am in trouble. Naruto yelled as he stood up in anger and started to stamp his foot furiously on the large toad's head. A boss is supposed to help his subordinate out when they are in trouble, isn't that your morale code? I'll admit, I did say that I would make you my subordinate, replied Gamabunta, acknowledging that he said that. But, we still haven't had a drink yet. Are you crazy? I can't drink alcohol, I'm only 12, I'm not fucking 20. Cried Naruto. You're just making excuses, so that you won't have to help me. Said the large toad, not denying the accusation. You need not worry Naruto Dono, I shall assist you in your battle, said Katsuyu. Really? Asked Naruto happily as he turned to the giant female slug. Of course, you're my summoner and I am obligated to help you when you call. Tisk, like I said only an idiot would, grumbled Gamabunta. Hey, don't insult Katsuyu-san, she at least knows something about loyalty and honor and is going help me, Naruto retorted angrily, forgetting how tired he was, and stamped his foot on the large toad's head again. Watch your mouth, brat. Gamabunta shouted, don't you dare insult my honor, if I wanted to I could go back home and let you fall to your death. Oh yay, I dare you to try. Naruto replied before jumping onto the chief toad's head and sticking out his tongue and saying, Narush. This action of course infuriated the toad boss, since Naruto could really get under his skin at times. Luckily before things could get further out of hand, Katsuyu suddenly spoke, gaining both Naruto and Gamabunta's attention. I will admit that fighting someone like Shukaku would be extremely difficult, even for one such as me, spoke the Slug Queen. But if you were to help Gamabunta-san, our chances of victory would greatly increase. PFF, and why exactly should I help this kid, especially after all the cheek he's given me? Asked the Toad boss. Oh come on Pops, don't be like that, help Naruto out, spoke Gamakichi, who suddenly appeared on top of Naruto's head. Even you said that Naruto had a lot of potential like his Pops. Gamakichi, what the hell are you doing here? I was bored, and I hadn't seen Naruto in a while, so I came out to play with him, replied the small before pointing over to Gaara. But anyway, you see that guy over there, he was picking on me. What did you just say? Gamabunta asked angrily, while glaring at Gaara. Since if there was one thing the boss Toad would not stand for, it was someone picking on his kids. Yay. He tried to squash me more than once. If it wasn't for Naruto protecting me from him, he would have, replied the small orange toad with a wink to Naruto. Seeing the wink, Naruto nodded back his thanks and smiled. He also made a note to triple the amount of snacks he would give Gamakichi later. I see. Okay then, Gamabunta said as he slowly drew out his dagger, not knowing that he had been tricked into the fight by his son and Naruto. Kid, as of this moment I officially accept you as my subordinate. Katsuya, can I count of your help? Of course. The Slug Queen replied with a nod. Good, said the Chief Toad before turning back to Gaara. You're going to pay for what you did, you damn flunky. Yelled Gamabunta before jumping forward to attack Gaara. Hang tight brat, shouted Gamabunta as he moved forward with tremendous speed and cut Gaara's right arm off. Nice one Chief, yelled Naruto as he did his best to stay on the massive toad, when he landed back onto the ground. But after cutting Gaara's arm off, Gamabunta also lost his dagger, where it crashed to the ground and caused a small shockwave near Sasuke and the others, who were watching the battle from below. As soon as Gamabunta had severed Gaara's arm, Katsuya made her own attack, where she spat out a large blob of acid at Gaara, who blocked it his other remaining arm, causing a large portion of it to vaporize from the acid, before reforming again. After which Gaara then extended his massive arm forward and wrapped it around the large slug and attempted to squeeze her like a zit. But before this could happen, Katsuya exploded into 1,000 small slugs, allowing her to escape from Gaara's hold and move over to Gamabunta and Naruto, before reforming again. As I feared this will not be an easy battle, said the female slug. You think? Retorted the boss Toad, that guy's body was so heavy I could barely cut through his arm with my dagger, which I lost now. We'll have to end this battle quickly, before we destroy the surrounding landscape, said Katsuya. Hey, Gamabunta-san, Katsuya-san, Ino-chan, Sakura-chan and Sasuke are down there, so please be careful when you're fighting. If you could lure him away from here, that way they're less likely to get caught in the fight. Sakura-chan, Ino-chan, asked Gamabunta, noticing the suffixes Naruto was using when mentioning the two girls. 1. This Pops, said Gamakichi as he held up his pinky finger. Naruto is quite the player here. Hearing this, the large toad smirked in an amusement. Ah yes, I see, Tsunade-sama has mentioned to me several times, that she is rather vexed with the number of young girls Naruto Dono has relationships with, commented Katsuya. I am not having a relationship with anyone, yelled an annoyed Naruto, who was blushing slightly from the remark. Hey, come on brat, don't be like that, said Gamabunta with a large smirk. Jiraiya has told me all kinds of things involving the number of girls he has seen you hang around with. Just tell us which one of them is your favorite. They're just my friends, shouted a now irritated Naruto, and I don't have any favorites. So don't believe anything that Sannin says, knowing him and his perverted mind, he just made those stories up for those stupid books of his. Oh come on Naruto, there's not wrong with being popular with girls, teased Gamakichi. Can we please focus on the battle now and away from my personal life? Cried a frustrated Naruto, who was 2 steps away from tossing the small toad into the air for causing all this. Before any of the summonses could respond, Gaara suddenly started shouting. Interesting, not bad Senju Naruto. Not bad at all. Shit, thought Temari, when she heard Gaara, knowing what was to come next and decided to move further away from the battle. At the same time, the real Gaara appeared on top of his Biju's form head. You have proven to be a much more entertaining opponent than I had imagined, Senju Naruto, said Gaara when he appeared. As a reward, I shall show you the true strength of the Suna no Keshin incarnation of sand. Watch it, brat, that kid is about to unleash his Biju and its true power, said Gamabunta when he saw Gaara performing a single-hand seal. What do you mean? Naruto asked, not fully understanding what the Chief Toad was saying. When the host of Shukaku is awake, the Biju's true power is limited, which is why his host sleeps so little. It also prevents him from eating away the personality. But if they were to sleep, then his true power would be released, and if I'm right, that kid is planning on using the Tanuki no Jutsu, force sleep technique, to unleash Shukaku. Gamabunta-san is correct, we should prepare for what is to come, said Katsuya with concern in her voice. Crap, this isn't good, Naruto thought before he suddenly heard Gaara's Biju form yelling. YYAATTTTAA. I finally free baby. So that's Shukaku, Naruto said after seeing the way Gaara's Biju's form was acting now. Man, that is one funky Biju, Gamakichi remarked. Oh yay, and I've even found some people I want to kill. Shouted Shukaku while pointing at Gambunta, Naruto and Katsuya. After which his then yelled, Futon, Renkuden wind style, compressed air ball. And fired a large high-speed blast of wind from his mouth. Move, shouted Gamabunta as he jumped into the air to avoid the attack, while Katsuya once again divided herself into thousands of small slugs. After jumping up into the air, Gamabunta formed an single-hand seal and yelled, Suten, Tepidama, water style, gunshot. Before firing a large compressed ball of water at the large Biju. Seeing this, Shukaku fired yet another large blast of wind to intercept the water attack. When the two attacks collided, they exploded, causing the water to fall to the ground below like a shower. It's like a storm, said Pakken as the water rained down on him and Sasuke, and I already just had a bath. What kind of battle is this? Sasuke asked himself, who placed the two girls down to watch the battle and couldn't believe the scale of the attacks, which were reshaping the landscape around him. Well, this is annoying, muttered Sai as he shielded his face with his arm. After the two attack hit, Katsuya suddenly reformed behind Shukaku and rammed right into him. But because of how heavy he was, she was unable to push him very far, where the large Biju then grabbed hold of her with his one remaining arm and threw her away. Recovering quickly, Katsuya then yelled, Zeshi Nensen tongue-tooth sticky acid. And spat out a large concentrated blast of acid at the oversized Tanuki. Who countered with another blast of wind and sent the acid flying across the surrounding area, causing many trees to be melted. After countering Katsuya's attack, Shukaku fired several more blasts of wind at the Slug Queen, but before the attacks could hit, Gamabunta landed in front of Katsuya and fired two more blasts of water and intercepted them. But he was unable to block the third wind blast, which hit him dead on, causing a large explosion and sending the Chief Toad crashing into the Katsuya. Oh yeah, I killed them, cheered the large Biju. 2 for the price of 1, oh yeah. But as the large Biju continued to cheer for killing the two large summonses, Gamabunta and Katsuya both suddenly emerged from the smoke caused by the explosion. That hurt, you bastard. The Toad boss yelled angrily, where he and Katsuya rammed into Shukaku and pushed the oversized Biju away, tearing up the surrounding ground in the process. Katsuya, I'm sorry to ask this, but can you avoid using your acid anymore? Naruto asked as he turned to the female slug. I know that would make the fight more difficult, but if Shukaku counters with his wind blast again, it could cause the acid to fall on Ino-chan, Sakura-chan and Sasuke. Very well, Naruto Dono, replied the large female slug. But we need to be more careful, and avoid taking hits like the one before. Yay, I know, spoke Gamabunta. Those blasts have a lot of chakra molded into them. I can't take many more hits like that. We need to wake that kid up, or else this battle will never end. How do I wake him up? Naruto asked. Just punch him, replied the Toad boss, before he and Katsuya were forced to separate to avoid another powerful wind blast from Shukaku. After dodging Shukaku's attack, Gamabunta quickly leapt over the Biju and grabbed hold of him with his webbed hands. But before Naruto could jump over to Gaara, Shukaku pushed him away. Damn it, you need to stay still longer, otherwise I can't jump onto him, yelled Naruto. That's easier said than done, the Toad boss retorted. I don't have any claws or fangs to help me hold onto him. Perhaps I could be of some assistance then, said Katsuya as she moved next to Gamabunta. If I can come up behind Shukaku, we can pin him between us, allowing Naruto Dono to jump onto Shukaku. HHMM, that might just work, said Gamabunta as he thought on it. Originally he was planning on use a henge transformation to change into something with fangs or claws. But the problem with that idea was that he wasn't very good at henges, hence Katsuya's plan was much better. Okay then let's do it. The large toad said before he and Katsuya were forced to separate again, after Shukaku fired a massive ball of wind at them. The attack was so powerful that when it exploded, it unleashed a powerful blast of wind, destroying many trees and forced Sai, Sasuke and Pakken to hold onto the trees they were standing on, and not be blown away. When the wind ball exploded, Katsuya tried to circle around Shukaku, but before she get into position, Shukaku sent her flying back with a swipe from his large tail. Gamabunta, who tried to play interference, was also pushed back by Shukaku, who backhanded the toad boss with his arm and fired another powerful wind ball. Acting fast, Gamabunta quickly jumped into the air to avoid the powerful attack, allowing Shukaku fire another blast at Katsuya, who narrowly avoided it by splitting herself up again, although many of her miniature forms were unable to avoid the attack fully, and were sent flying across the air. What a battle, said Sasuke after seeing the amount of destruction the three creatures were causing as they fought. This place may not be safe for much longer, I may be forced to move into the air, Sai thought as he shielded his face from the shockwave of another wind ball that had just exploded. Damn it, his power is increasing by the minute, if we don't end this soon, we won't be able to stop him, grumbled the chief toad. Then let's do it already, Naruto said before asking Gamkachi to get off his head, knowing that it would not be safe for the small toad once he jumped off his father's head. Alat! Yelled Gamabunta before jumping into the air and spat out a massive ball of water at the Biju, who quickly blocked it by firing one of his wind balls. But as soon as the two attacks collided, Gamabunta burst through the shower of water and rammed right into the massive tanuki, pushing the Biju back a small bit. At that moment Katsuya, who had finally gathered all her miniature forms together, appeared behind the sand spirit and rammed into his back, pinning him in between the two massive summonses. Okay Naruto, now is your chance. Gamabunta shouted, as he and Katsuya pushed Shukaku between them. Right! Yelled Naruto as he jumped into the air towards Gaara and charged up his fist with chakra. This is your wake-up call. Naruto yelled and he slammed his supercharged first right into Gaara's face, sending the Suna boy flying out of Shukaku's forehead and nearly off its head entirely. No, I just got out. I can't go back in already, screamed Shukaku before his spirit returned to his seal. Nice, he was actually able to dispel the jutsu, Pakken said. But surprisingly Shukaku form remained, indicating that Gaara still has some power left. Well done, Naruto Dono, but this battle is not yet over, your opponent can still fight, said Katsuya as she did her best to keep the sand Biju between her and Gamabunta. Damn, this brat is a tough one, I didn't think he would still have this much power left. Gamabunta said angrily as he tried to hold back the sand Biju. Just as Katsuya said, when Naruto looked up he saw Gaara standing up on Shukaku's head, holding his injured face and glaring angrily at the blonde Senju. Crap, I held too much back when I punched him, Naruto thought angrily. 2. Damn him, Gaara thought angrily as he glared at the spiky-haired blonde. He dispelled by jutsu. Wanting to end this battle now, Naruto quickly raced towards Gaara. But before he could get even halfway, his feet started to sink into Shukaku, stopping him in his tracks. After which Gaara then held out his hand and yelled, Sabaku Q, sand binding coffin. And had some of the sand that made up Shukaku's body converge on Naruto. Naruto Dono, said Katsuya in concern. Pops, you need to help him, shouted Gamakichi. Right, said the toad boss before he spat out his long tongue and had his surround Naruto protecting him from the sand. That won't help, yelled Gaara, where he then had the sand underneath Naruto form around him. Just how much power does this brat have? Gamabunta asked, after retracting his tongue and struggled to keep Gaara in between him and Katsuya. Now you will finally die, Gaara said furiously as the sand around Naruto began to cover him. My existence will not perish. There's no way I am going to lose to you. I will protect both my friends and Konoha. Naruto yelled as he channeled a large portion of his remaining chakra into his fist and slammed it down onto the Shukaku's face. When Naruto slammed his fist into Shukaku's face, a large explosion erupted, causing sand to fly everywhere, blocking everyone's view of Naruto. But before anyone could even wonder what happened to the blonde, Naruto emerged out of the cloud, flying towards Gaara, who tried to stop him with his sand, which Naruto easily broke through with his inhuman-like strength and punched Gaara right in the face again. This time holding nothing back and sending the elder boy flying off Shukaku's head. Soon after, Shukaku's body finally began to crack before finally dissolving into sand again. Is it over? Did he win? Sasuke asked, seeing Gaara's Bijuu's form dissolve. I think so, replied Pakken. You did good, kid, Gamabunta thought. Despite your worn-out state from using the Kyuubi's chakra, you were still able to find the strength to fight on. Even though you're probably the most stubborn, reckless, cheeky, smart-ass brat I have ever come across, you've a lot of promise in you. Hey, Katsuya, if it's alright with you, can you stay here and make sure the kid is okay? Gamabunta asked. Unfortunately, I can't stay as I am at my limit and need to head back. Of course, Gamabunta-san, and thank you, replied the Slug Queen, who knew Gamabunta needed to head home to recover. Given how she had no bones, she could take more hits than the Toad Boss and last longer in battle. Nodding his thanks, Gamabunta looked up to Gamakichi, who was still on his head. You ready, Gamakichi? Yep, replied the small toad, before he and his father disappeared in a large burst of smoke, followed by Gamabunta's dagger. The resulting explosion blew the still falling Naruto, crashing into a nearby tree. Ooh, moaned Naruto as he rubbed his head after hitting the tree. Damn that oversized toad, why the hell did he do that? Naruto Dono, are you well? Katsuya asked as she made her way over to the tree Naruto was on. Yay, I'm okay, the blonde replied as she slowly got back up to his feet and made his way up to the top of the tree. But can you tell me where Gaara landed? He landed in that direction, the Slug Queen answered, turning to her right. Nodding his thanks, Naruto quickly leapt off the tree he was on and made his way to where Katsuya told him to go. Shortly after, Naruto found the Suna boy, laying on the ground in a small crater, covered in bruises, his head bleeding from Naruto's last punch and his clothes destroyed, caked with dried blood and dirt. When Gaara saw the blonde boy land nearby, Gaara began to wonder what made the Senju heir so powerful. He also began to wonder why someone who had not hatred in his heart was so much stronger than him, who lived for only himself and killed anyone who got in his way. As Naruto drew closer to him, Gaara suddenly started to feel something he had never felt before, fear. He was afraid of Naruto, he was afraid of dying, he was afraid that Naruto would kill him. SS Saint, stay back, don't come near me, cried a now frightened Gaara. My existence will not be extinguished, I will not die. But despite Gaara's cries, Naruto continued to make his way toward the sand-wielding boy. But just when Naruto was only 6 feet away from Gaara, Temari and Kankuro suddenly appeared in front of Gaara, preventing Naruto from getting any closer. We won't let you touch him, Temari said with determined look on her face, which was mimicked by Kankuro. I've never seen Gaara so hurt, or in such a weakened state. Just what the hell did that Senju kid do to him? A concerned Kankuro thought as he glanced at his younger brother. Tisk, I don't have the time or the energy for this, Naruto thought angrily, since he was already pretty tired from using the Kyuubi's energy. He also wanted to wrap up things here quickly so that he could get back to the village and help. But just as Naruto was about to say something to Suna siblings, Sasuke appeared out of one of the trees and landed next to him. Sasuke, what are doing here? What does it look like, dope? Helping you, the Uchiha replied, who still had his curse markings covering the left side of his face, causing Naruto to be concerned. Where are the girls? You should be protecting them. They're safe. I also left Kakashi's dog Pakken to watch over them. Even though the idea of Pakken protecting Ino and Sakura did not inspire much confidence in Naruto, the blonde knew the girls were in good hands. He was also grateful for the assist from Sasuke since together they could easily deal with both Temari and Kankuro, despite both of them being fairly worn out. As the 4 genin faced off, each genin prepared to attack. But before anything could happen, several dozen ink snakes appeared out of the ground and wrapped themselves around the 3 siblings' bodies. What the? Cried Temari in surprise. Damn it, yelled Kankuro, before he and his sister fell to the ground next to Gaara, who was also bound by the ink snakes. Even though it was unneeded, given how his body couldn't move from his injuries. Nicely done, Naruto, greeted Sai as he appeared out of nearby tree in front of Naruto and Sasuke. Sai, Sasuke said with a frown, what are you doing here? Just helping your worthless butt, Uchiha, Sai answered with his usual fake smile, causing Sasuke to glare at him. Hey, like I believe that, Naruto thought with his own frown. I bet he's been following and watching us from a distance, ever since we left the village. My guess is that he is trying to gain more intel on our abilities for Danzo and would only intervene when it was needed to. Ignoring the raven-haired boy's glare, Sai went over to Gaara and drew his tanto and pointed it at Gaara, who was staring back at him with a mixture of anger and fear in his eyes. Now if you don't mind, I will wrap things up here, the root agent replied as he prepared to finish off Gaara with his blade. Gaara! Cried Temari and Kankuro together, when they saw what Sai was preparing to do, and futilely tried to break free from their binds. But before Sai could deliver the fatal blow, he was stopped by a sudden shout from Naruto, who yelled, "Stop!" After stopping his blade just as he was about to pierce Gaara's jugular, the young root agent turned to the blonde. Is there a problem, Naruto? Sai is with a raised eyebrow, all the while keeping a close eyes on Gaara as well. They're defeated, there's no need to kill them. Aren't you forgetting something? Suna has betrayed us, they have allied with Oto and they have attacked our village. They are our enemy, and all enemies of Konoha must be killed, especially him, spoke Sai as he looked down at Gaara with any emotion. He is Suna's Jinchuriki and is therefore a serious threat to our village and cannot be allowed to live. If he were to transform again, he could do a great deal of damage to Konoha. He isn't a threat to the village now, he doesn't have enough chakra to fight anymore and his body is too damaged to move. As long as he lives, he is a threat to the village, Sai retorted coolly. I was the one who fought and defeated him, and I am the one who will decide what to do with him, Naruto said forcefully and took a step forward to highlight his point. And I will not let you kill a defenseless person in cold blood, even if he is an enemy. And what would you have us do with him? Let him go. Sai asked with a sarcastic tone and another fake smile. We'll take him prisoner, Naruto replied. And them? The dark-haired boy asked as he glanced at the bound Kankuro and Temari, who shared worried looks with one another. Them as well. I see, Sai replied calmly, and what if for argument's sake, I ignored your request and decided to kill them? I would stop you, Naruto replied with a determined look in his eyes. For a moment the two genin just stared at one another, entering into a battle of wills. But eventually after a few minutes of staring, Sai removed his tanto from Gaara's neck and sheathed it. Very well then, we'll take them as prisoners. Nodding to this, Naruto was about to jump up to the top of a nearby tree, but before he could, Sai suddenly spoke again. You should know, Naruto, that I am actually a bit disappointed with you. Why is that? Naruto asked as he turned to the pale-faced boy, who still had his fake smile on. For such a strong and gifted shinobi, you're really a naive, soft-hearted idiot, who doesn't deserve to be a shinobi of Konoha. HMF, coming from you, Sai, I'll take that as a compliment, Naruto replied with a smirk, before he jumped up to the tree to call Katsuya over. He's a strange one, I'll give him that, Sai thought with a raised eyebrow. But still it seems that Danzo-sama was correct. Naruto has clearly been influenced by the Sandaime Hokage-sama's teaching, and if he is to be any use to Konoha, he will have to be purged of those beliefs. During their little standoff, Naruto had once again proven to Sai that even though he had immense potential as a shinobi, who could possibly lead Konoha to greatness, he still lacked the heart and will to do what was necessary. He shown this at the battle on the bridge in Nami no Kuni Wave Country when he stopped Kakashi from killing Zabuza. And now once again he had shown this naivety and soft-heartiness, to a person he had just been fighting against. Naruto even threatened to fight him should he try to kill Gaara, and although Sai was fairly certain he could take on and defeat both Sasuke and Naruto in their weakened states, he decided not to, since Gaara and his siblings would prove to be useful hostages, since they were the children of the Yondaime Kozekage and probably have valuable intel on their village. Not to mention they would be useful bargaining chips for future negotiations with Suna, once they had dealt with the invasion, especially Gaara given his status as a Jinchuriki. Once Katsuya arrived, Naruto asked the Slug Queen to transport Gaara, his siblings, as well as Sakura and Ino. The Slug Queen was of course happy to help and used her Katsuyu Daibunritsu, Slug Great Division, technique to have several medium-sized versions of herself leave her body and act as transport for the three Suna siblings. She even created two more and sent them over to where Sasuke had left Sakura and Ino and brought them over to them. As Naruto loaded Gaara onto one of the Katsuya clones, the red-headed boy suddenly spoke. Do not think just because you spared my life I will show you the same mercy. I am not weak like you. I promise you, one day I will kill you for what you have done to me, and make you suffer for all the pain you have caused me. I will feed your blood to my mother, I swear it. You can try. Gaara of course did not respond to this and just glared angrily at the blonde boy, who slowly walked away from him, although as he did, Sai turned and spoke to him. Still want to keep him alive? The dark-haired boy asked with another fake smile. I'm sure, Naruto replied before he jumped up onto a tree and then up onto Katsuya, whether he appreciates it or not. Naruto, what are you doing? Sasuke asked when he saw the blonde boy jump up on top of Katsuya. I'm heading back to Konoha with Katsuya, she's told me they're still having trouble with the giant snakes in the village, so I'm going to help. You guys stay with Gaara and the others and make sure they don't try to escape. Before Sasuke could say anything to stop the blonde, Katsuya took off with surprising speed for a giant slug. That kid seems to be always on the go, muttered Pakken, who was standing next to the two Katsuya clones that were carrying the unconscious Sakura and Ino. Naruto certainly doesn't like to sit still for very long, don't you think, Sasuke? Sai asked with his usual fake smile when he turned to his teammate. Shut up, Sai. Sasuke replied angrily before they began to make their way back to Konoha. With Naruto. After leaving Sasuke and Sai and exhausted, Naruto rested on Katsuya's head, who offered to heal Naruto's injuries, which he had suffered while battling Gaara. As Katsuya healed his minor injuries, Naruto took out another food pill to help keep him going. Although he still had enough chakra to fight, his body was worn out from using the Kyuubi's chakra. Ka-chan is probably going to kill me once she finds out that I've taken more food pills, Naruto thought as he swallowed the pill. But I can't worry about that now, I need to be able to help. When Naruto and Katsuya arrived at Outer Wall, the two could clearly see that the invading force had broken through all of Konoha's outer defenses and had moved into the center of the village with the giant snakes leading the way. Damn it, things are bad, Naruto thought before he suddenly felt a presence, after which two masked shinobi appeared on the outer wall in front of him. Surprised by the sudden appearance of the shinobi, Naruto prepared to defend himself and was about to order Katsuya to attack, but stopped when he realized that the two shinobi were Anbu. Peace. Naruto-san, we mean you no harm, spoke one of the Anbu wearing a badger-shaped Anbu mask as he held up his hand in a peaceful manner. We are with Konoha's Ansatsu Senjutsu Tokishu Butai Special Assassination and Tactical Squad, also known as Anbu, said the Anbu with a bird-shaped mask. How do I know that you are both the real deal? The last Anbu I met turned out to be an enemy and nearly killed me, Naruto said, as he kept his guard up. Because they're with me, spoke a new voice, after which a familiar scared face man appeared next to the Anbu. Hey, I know you, Naruto said in recognition when he saw the man. You're the examiner from the first exam, Morino Ibiki. Good to see you alive, brat, the scared man replied with a nod. Now if you don't mind telling me what are you doing here, and why are you on Katsuya-sama? When he saw her, we assumed that you were Tsunade-sama. For the next few minutes, Naruto explained his orders from Kakashi about stopping Gaara to Ibiki and then went on to give a brief rundown of what happened. When Naruto finished explaining what happened, both Ibiki and the Anbu were stunned by the news that Mir Genin not only fought and defeated a Jinchuriki, but also summoned two of the three legendary summons of the Densetsu no Sannin, legendary 3 ninja. Incredible, thought the one of Anbu in awe. Truly one would expect nothing less from the son of Tsunade-sama, thought the other Anbu admiration. Geez, what the hell is with this kid? Thought Ibiki thought with a small bead of sweat falling down his face. After hearing such a story, Ibiki would normally think that the kid was lying, since it was too ridiculous to believe. Yet the proof was staring him right in the face, or to be exact, Naruto was standing right on top of it. Furthermore, Ibiki had received reports from several of his people stating that they had seen a giant toad and slug battling another massive creature outside the village. When he first heard the reports, the man naturally assumed that Jiraiya and Tsunade were battling the creature. It was also why when he later heard the reports that a giant slug was heading for the village, he assumed that it was Tsunade riding on top of it, which was why he and the Anbu came to the outer wall, in the hope of asking for her help against the giant snakes. After learning the truth, the head of Konoha's Anbu torture and interrogation force was forced to doing something he never imagined to do. Hey kid, I have a favor to ask. Yay, what is it? We're having a lot of trouble with those giant snakes that are attacking the village. Right now Kushina is trying to deal with them herself, but she could do with some help, before the snakes can do any more damage to the village. Kushina-sensei, thought Naruto before he focused back on Ibiki. But what about the enemy? They've already reached the center of the village. Leave them to us, we have a plan for them, the scared man replied. What do you mean? The blonde boy asked, not fully understanding what Ibiki was saying. Konoha has a manual in the event that the village comes under attack by an enemy, answered the bird-masked Anbu. Stage 1 involves us eliminating all enemy forces that have infiltrated the village. But in the event that we are unable to, we immediately move to Stage 2, continued the badger-masked Anbu. In other words, evacuate all civilians and non-combatants to designated shelters around the village and slow the enemy's advance, after which we move to Stage 3. And what does that involve? Naruto asked. That all shinobi forces around the village are to attack and eliminate the enemy from the village, and that stage should begin at any minute, since the civilians have all reached the shelters. Nodding in understanding, Naruto quickly had Katsuya go through the large gap in the wall that one of the giant snakes made earlier and headed towards the nearest giant snake. Ibiki Teiko, are you sure this is a wise decision? Asked the bird-masked Anbu. Agreed. To be honest, I don't like idea of sending a boy like him into battle, said the other Anbu. I don't like it much either, but right now we need use everything we've got to drive the enemy back, and that boy can clearly do things we cannot, the scared face man replied. Who at the same time could not help but find the whole situation disgraceful, since it was supposed to be the adults who protect the kids, not the other way around. Shortly after though, the three men's attention was soon turned elsewhere when they heard a large bird cry. That's the signal, it's time to get into position, said Ibiki to the two Anbu who nodded and Shunshin's body flickered away. Before joining him, Ibiki took one last look at Naruto, and wished the kid luck, while at the same time hoping the blonde boy stayed safe. Knowing that if anything happened to the spiky-haired blonde, his mother Tsunade would come after him and would do things that would make even the scared-faced man shudder in fear. With Naruto. As Naruto and Katsuya moved through the ruined part of the village, Naruto formed a single-hand seal and created a dozen shadow clones of himself. Naruto Dono, what are you doing? The Slug Queen asked in surprise. I'm getting off here, you help Kushina-sensei out with those oversized snakes, I'll be able to help more if I'm down there. With respects Naruto Dono, I believe it would be better if you stayed with me, where I can protect you, replied Katsuya. Thanks Katsuya, but I'll be fine, besides I'm worried about Ka-chan, Ero Sennin and Gigi, and want to see if they're okay. Sighing at this, the large Slug Queen just nodded, knowing that she would not be able to convince Naruto not to leave her. Very well Naruto Dono, but please, take one of my clones with you, that way I can keep in contact with you and come should you need help. I can also send you healing chakra in the event that you are injured and cannot heal yourself. Agreeing to this, Naruto took the miniature Katsuya clone that appeared below his feet and placed it on his shoulder. After which he then ordered his clones to move out, where they jumped down into the village and scattered, to do what they could to help. At Konoha's memorial stone. Currently kneeling in front of the Konoha memorial stone was a lone woman with long purple hair, dressed in Anbu attire. She did not pay much attention to the distant sounds of the battle going on in the village, as her attention was focused on the memorial stone. After a few minutes she raised her hands and traced over one of the names written on the stone, the name of her now deceased lover. I will avenge you, Hayat, said the woman before a determined look appeared on her face and she stood up and placed her cat Anbu mask on. After which she turned around to face four more Anbu, who had just appeared. Shortly after the five Anbu heard the birds cry from above. There's the signal. Let's go, said an Anbu wearing a tiger mask. Hi, replied the woman before they all shunshined away in a puff of smoke. In the center of the Konoha, two squads of Oto and Suna shinobis were racing through the streets at top speed. Suddenly though a hail of shuriken appeared from above, halting the shinobi's advance and taking out a member from each squad, while the remaining other members deflected the rest with their kunai. When the two shinobi groups looked up they saw five Anbu looking down at them from a small bridge above them. That's as far as you go, you will not take another step further into our village, declared the purple-haired female Anbu. In another part of the village the Hyuga clan head Hyuga Hyashi was busy fighting over 24 Suna shinobi, using his superior Juken fighting techniques to defeat any who came near him. As the battle progressed, 5 Suna nins tried a direct attack, hoping to overwhelm the Hyuga clan head with their numbers. But instead Hiashi sent 3 of them flying back with a single palm strike. The remaining 2 then tried to attack him from both the front and behind, only to be sent flying back as well by Hiashi, who used his lightning-fast Juken strikes to defeat them. After dealing with the 5 Suna nins, the remaining 17 Suna shinobi surrounded the man and kept the distance from the man. "What are you guys doing?" spoke the leader of the 2 groups. "He's only one man." Seeing that the enemy were preparing to attack all at once, Hiashi decided to strike first and began to spin around at high speed. After which he then yelled, "Kaiten, revolving heaven," where a massive spinning dome, that was easily 3 times the size of Neji's, formed around him, sending all 7th shinobi flying into the air. When the technique ended, Hiashi was left standing in the middle of a large crater, while the defeated Suna shinobi crashed down onto the ground around him. "The Hyuga clan are the strongest in Konoha, you would be wise to remember it," said Hiashi with his Byakugan activated. In yet another part of the village, the fathers of Ino, Shikamaru and Choji, were busy fighting a large group of Suna shinobi, using the special techniques of their respected clans along with their patented Ino Shika Cho formation to defeat their opponents. Not far from where the senior Ino Shika Cho members were fighting, the Inuzuka clan head Inuzuka Tsume, her daughter Hana and their canine partners were leading several other members of their clan and the canine partners in an attack on several Suna shinobi on the rooftop of a large building. In the center of Konoha, Kushina and her team were just finishing off another one of the giant serpents, where the redhead had just bound the snake up in her chains. But as she stabbed the 2-headed snake in both its heads with the pointed tip of one of her chains, causing it to disappear, another large snake appeared out of the ground behind her and bared its fangs down on her before it prepared to swallow her up with one glop. "Kushina-san," yelled one of the Konoha shinobi, when he saw the large snake. "Shit," thought Kushina, realizing he was finished, but just the massive snake descended down on her, a large female voice suddenly shouted, "Zeshi Nensen." After which large yellow paste hit the snake, covering its entire body. Within seconds the creature screamed out in pain as it began to melt before exploding in a puff of smoke. Still in shock over what happened and that she was still alive, Kushina slowly turned in the direction of the attack where she saw the massive Slug Queen tower over the Konoha building not far from her. Quickly making her way over to the Slug Queen, Kushina leapt over several buildings and then onto the large female slug's head. "Thanks for the assist, Katsuya-sama, looks like I owe you one," said the red-headed Jonin. "My pleasure, Kushina-san," replied the Slug Queen. "Not to sound ungrateful, but what are you doing here? Where are Gamabunta and Naruto and what happened to that Suna kid?" The Suna Jinchuriki was defeated by Naruto Dono, Gamabunta-san and has been captured along with his siblings. After which Gamabunta-san returned to Myoboku's and Mount Myoboku to recuperate from injuries and Naruto Dun has left to check on Tsunade-sama as well as help with the battle. "Damn kid," Kushina mumbled angrily, "I swear he won't be happy until he gets himself killed." After saying this, Kushina silently swore that once this battle was over she would bash some common sense into the blonde for being so reckless, that is unless his mother got to him first. "You need worry about Naruto Sono too much, Kushina-san. Before he left, Naruto Dono took one of my clones with him, so I am in constant contact with him." After hearing this, Kushina nodded, and although this news did help settle her concerns a little, it still did not ease them entirely. Soon after though, Kushina pushed aside her thoughts for her students and turned to the last remaining snake summon, which was making its way over to her and Katsuya. As the creature drew closer, it set large fangs at him, showing it was not afraid of them. "Katsuya, if it's okay with you, can I count on your help with dealing with this overgrown reptile?" Kushina asked. Given how Katsuya and her did not have a contract and the Slug Queen was under no obligation to help her. "Of course, Kushina-san, Naruto Dono requested that I was to help until all the summonses were dealt with." Pleased to hear this, Kushina thanked the Slug Queen again and then turned to face the last snake summon together. After jumping off Katsuya, Naruto and his clones broke up and each went their own way. For the most part, the clones helped any wounded Konoha shinobi they found and healed their injuries. If they could not fully heal the injured shinobi, then the clones would stabilize them and carry them to the hospital where they could be treated by someone who could. After a while, one of Naruto clones arrived at the Inuzuka clan compound, where it found an injured Inuzuka girl, who looked to be no more than 8 years old and was holding a small gray pup in her arms, trying to protect it from the Oto Nin, who had cornered him against a large wooden fence. Standing in front of the injured girl and her pup and growling at the Oto shinobi was a Kurimaru. In an attempt to defend the injured girl, Kurimaru leapt forward and tried to bite the masked shinobi's leg. But instead was easily kicked aside by the man and sent flying into the wall next to the girl. "Out of the way, you mangy mutt! Kurimaru!" cried the girl when she saw what happened to the poor brave pup. Seeing this, the Naruto clone quickly raced forward and yelled, "Get away from them, you bastard!" When the Oto Nin turned to the sound of the clone's voice, he saw the clone leap into the air and kick him right into the face, sending him right through the wooden wall, knocking him out instantly. Once the enemy shinobi was knocked out, the clone turned to the young Inuzuka girl, who was staring at him with a mixture of shock and awe. "Are you okay?" the clone asked, as he looked down at young girl, who was still in shock and could only nod. Seeing that girl was okay, the clone quickly went over to the hurt Kurimaru and used the Shosen Jutsu, mystical palm technique, to heal the injured pup. When the clone had finished treating Kurimaru and the small dog saw the Naruto clone, it quickly leapt up and started licking the clone's face. "Ha ha, okay, stop it, Kurimaru, ha ha ha, I'm happy to see you too." After a few minutes, the small pup finally relented and stopped licking the Naruto clone, allow it to go over to the young Inuzuka girl and use his Shosen Jutsu to heal her. Once the girl injury was treated, the clone spoke to her, "Are you feeling better now?" "Hi," said the girl with a nod, "thank you for saving Arasu-chan and me, as well as Kurimaru when he tried to protect us from the man." After the girls thanked him, her grey dog began to bark, indicating it was thanking him as well. "Not a problem, I was happy to help, Kurimaru and me are friends, isn't that right, boy?" said the Naruto clone as he looked down at the small half-wolf, who barked in agreement. As soon as the Naruto clone was certain the girl was okay, he decided to head to Kiba's house and stay there until the battle was over, making sure that the girl and the two dogs stayed safe. Outside the stadium, as the battle in the village raged, the Godai Mizukage Terumi Mei was busy dealing with several Suna and Oto shinobi, who dared to attack her, using her Yoten lava release and her Futon boil release bloodline limits to eliminate the enemy shinobi. After dealing with the majority of the enemy shinobi inside the arena, the Mizukage decided to move outside around the arena. Not far from the female cage, Mei's bodyguard Ao was also busy fighting several enemy shinobi, but made sure he never strayed too far from his village leader and that she was always within eyesight of him, ensuring that should she be in danger he could get to her quickly to help. After knocking out an Oto Nin with a surprisingly strong kick, the Mizukage caught the glint of a kunai flying through the air from her right. Acting fast, the female cage ducked under the flying projectile, which embedded itself into a nearby stone wall. But just when the female Mizukage turned to where the kunai came from, she noticed that tied to the end of the kunai was an exploded note, which exploded moments after the kunai hit the wall. With no time to waste, Mei jumped forward and avoided the large blast with little harm. The only exception being a slight dizzy. This was caused when a small piece of debris hit the side of her head. As the Mizukage tried to steady herself, the Suna shinobi, who had thrown the kunai and exploding note, decided to take advantage of female cage's dizziness. After preforming several hand seals, the Suna shinobi fired a powerful stream of wind from his mouth and sent it towards Mei. By the time the Godai Mizukage steadied herself and saw the approaching wind attack, she realized it was too late to avoid or block the attack and braced herself. "Mizukage-sama," Ao cried, when he saw Mei in trouble and raced towards her. But just when the attack was about to hit her, a large dome made out of wood erupted from the ground around her and protected her from the wind attack. Surprised by the sudden appearance of the wooden dome, the Suna shinobi failed to notice the large wooden tentacles that appeared out of the ground underneath him, where he was quickly restrained by them, before he could do anything. "Mizukage-sama, are you all right?" asked a concerned Ao who appeared in front of the dome. "Yes, I'm fine, Ao," replied Mei, who appeared out from behind the wooden dome. "Who did this?" Ao asked as he looked at the wooden dome and then to the captured Suna nin who struggled futilely against his binds. "I believe that would be obvious, Ao, given how we only know of one person capable of doing something like this," answered a smiling Mei before pointing towards a nearby rooftop. Looking in the direction that the Godai Mizukage was pointing to, the head of the Hunter Nin division saw one Senju Naruto standing on the rooftop. After a brief smile and wave to them, he disappeared in a whirl of leaves. "That kid again," muttered Ao raising his left eyebrow. It seems that I am now the one indebted to him, commented May with an amused smile while at the same time thinking, I always did like a man who had good timing. Inside the stadium stands. After knocking out another Oto shinobi with a hard punch to the gut, Kakashi took the kunai the man had in his hand and threw it at another Oto nin, who was trying to run away, and hit him in the back of the neck, killing him instantly. As soon he had dealt with the man, Kakashi saw a third Oto nin racing towards him and took out a kunai from his pouch. After which the two shinobi disappeared in a blur and clashed with one another for an instant before reappearing at opposite ends. Shortly after reappearing, a large slash appeared on the Oto shinobi's stomach where he then fell to the ground dead. At the same time, not far from Kakashi, Guy was finishing of a Suna shinobi, who he had knocked out with a strong hit to the back of the head. With the Suna nin knocked out, Guy then signaled over another Suna shinobi who was standing a few feet away from him. Taking Guy's challenge, the Suna shinobi raced forward, but was quickly defeated by the bushy-eyebrows man, who dealt a powerful kick to the young man's stomach and then spun around and delivered an equally powerful upward kick to an Oto nin's chin, knocking him out instantly. I believe that was the last of them, said Shizune, who suddenly appeared next to the green-clad man. Looks like it, replied Kakashi, who made his way over to them along with Kurenai and Anko. Soon after the five Jonin joined up, they heard a familiar voice call out to them, Shizune, everyone. When the group turned, they were surprised to see a dirty, tired Naruto running towards them carrying a miniature version of Katsuya on his shoulder. Naruto, what are you doing here? I thought I sent you to help Sasuke and stop Sabaku no Gaara, Gaara of the Sand Waterfall Desert, said Kakashi. I beat him, and we capture him along with his brother and sister. When Anko heard this, the former student of Orochimaru was naturally surprised by it. Damn, in just one day, he took on and defeated the prodigy of the Hyuga clan, the Kazekage's daughter and two Jinchuriki, and he's still standing. He's got amazing stamina, that's for sure, which will probably come in pretty hand once he gets older and starts dating. Where are they? Kurenai asked. I left them with Sai and Sasuke, I went on ahead with Katsuya here. Hi, said the miniature Katsuya, after the battle with Shukaku and Sabaku no Gaara, I offered to bring Naruto down to Konoha and help in the defense of the village. Shukaku, repeated Shizune in surprise. Naruto, explain exactly what happened. For the next few minutes Naruto gave the five Jonin the same rundown of the events between Gaara and him, as he did Ibiki and the two Anbu. When he finished telling them what happened, all five Jonin were amazed by what Naruto had done. Well done Naruto-kun, truly you embody the flames of youth, to accomplish so much in just one day, said Guy loudly. Who then smiled at the young blonde, causing his teeth to gleam brightly, making Naruto wonder once again if the jumpsuit-wearing man bleached his teeth. Naruto, how were you able to do all that after you battled with Niyugito? Shizune asked. Don't tell you used another food pill. Actually I took two, Naruto said guiltily. Two, shouted Shizune in disbelief, causing the blonde boy to cringe slightly at his surrogate sister's loud voice. Naruto, you know how dangerous it to take multiple food pills in short periods of time. Looks Shizune, we can worry about me later, I came here because I want to know what's going on with Kaa-chan, Ero, Sennin and Gigi. They are still battling inside the barrier, from what we have heard they holding their own against the Orochimaru, Shodai, and the Nadaime Hokage Samus, answered Kakashi. Who then went on to explain in more detail after seeing the confused look on Naruto's face when he heard that the Shodai and Nadaime Hokages fighting against Tsunade and the others. When Kakashi finishing explaining what happened, the young blonde gashed his teeth at how Orochimaru revived his ancestors and were using them as weapons against his family. Damn that bastard. Naruto thought angrily. Why hasn't anyone gone to help them? Hasn't anyone broken through the barrier? No, the barrier is impenetrable, the Anbu have already tried, explained Kakashi. If that's the case, then there's only one way to help, thought Naruto. Katsuya-chan, I'm going to need you help again, Naruto said as he turned to the miniature slug clone, who just nodded. After which the blonde took off down the stands. Naruto, where do you think you going? Shizune yelled. To help Kaa-chan and the others, answered Naruto. Before Shizune or any of the others could even stop the blonde boy, he disappeared in a puff of smoke along with the Katsuya clone. Inside the barrier. As the battle inside the village raged and slowly turned to Konoha's favor, the battle against Orochimaru and the revived Hokages was going in the opposite direction. Although the Sandaime Hokage, Tsunade and Jiraiya were able to hold their own, they were slowly being worn down by the two Hokages, who unlike them did not feel pain or tired and had an unlimited chakra. During the battle when the Shodai Hokage used the Genjutsu, Kokuunyu no Jutsu illusionary technique, bringer of darkness technique to cover the space inside the barrier in darkness, the Sandaime and the others were forced on the defensive, where they stood back to one another and defended themselves from the various assaults from the two Hokages. But after a little while Tsunade was finally able to use her advanced skill in Genjutsu to break the Shodai's Genjutsu, allowing them to see their adversaries. Soon afterwards the two Sannin and their former sensei were able to isolate the Nidium Hokage from his brother the Shodai, who was kept at bay by Tsunade, allowing the Sandaime to capture the Nidaime using his Kongo Roheki, Vajra prison wall, which in turn allowed Jiraiya to prepare an Fuinjutsu sealing technique to seal the former Hokage away. But before the Jiraiya could complete the sealing, Orochimaru, who had realized what the two were doing, intervened and prevented the Nidaime from being sealed away. After which he temporarily disabled Hiruzen with several of his snakes and freed the Nidaime from the Kongo Roheki using the Kusanagi no Tsurugi grass-cutting sword, allowing the brother of the Shodai to attack Jiraiya. As the battle continued to rage on, the Sandaime's age finally began to show, where the old man was beginning to tire, forcing Tsunade and Jiraiya to stay close and defend him. Suten, Suiruden no Jutsu, cried the Nidaime Hokage, who used his high water affinity to create massive water dragon from the moisture in the air. As the large water dragon moved closer, Tsunade stepped forward and used her monster-like strength to destroy the water dragon with a single punch. But as soon as she had destroyed the water dragon, Tsunade suddenly found herself bound by wooden binds, created by her grandfather from his outstretched right hand, leaving her vulnerable to attack from the Nidaime, who fired another powerful water attack. Before the attack could hit, Jiraiya used his Hari Jizo needle Jizo technique to extend his hair and pulled Tsunade free from the wooden binds and next to him, just before Tobiramas attacked them. When the water attack ended, the two former Hokages saw that both Sannin and their teacher were unharmed thanks to Jiraiya's hair, which had protected them all from the water attack. After the water attack ended, Jiraiya used his Hari Jigoku needle-held technique to fire multiple hardened needle-like hairs at the two deceased Hokages, forcing them to jump further back to avoid the needle-like hair. Once Hokages had fallen back, Jiraiya had his hair revert back to its original form. But no sooner had he done this, Orochimaru appeared behind them and attempted to stab his former best friend in the back with the Kusanagi no Tsurugi. But before the sword could stab Gamma Sennin, the Sandaime had Enma extend backwards, hitting the heavy Sennin right in the chest and sending him crashing into a nearby tree. Thanks sensei, I owe you one. No need to thank me Jiraiya, pant, it's the least I could do, pant, after all the trouble I've caused you and Tsunade, replied the Sandaime as he tried to catch his breath. I've really become a pathetic old man. Seeing the state that his old teacher was in, Jiraiya knew he needed to do something, otherwise they were all finished. Tsunade, sensei, I hate to ask this of both of you, but can you both hold off Orochimaru and the Hokages for a few minutes for me? Jiraiya, do you plan to do what I think you plan to do? Asked Tsunade, realizing what Jiraiya was thinking. Nodding to this, Jiraiya simply said, desperate times call for desperate measures. Very well Jiraiya, we'll buy you as much time as we can, the Sandaime replied as he slowly lifted himself you. At the same time, after crashing into the large tree, Orochimaru maneuvered himself around his former comrades to join up with the two Senju brothers. After joining up with the two late Hokages, Orochimaru noticed that Jiraiya had pulled back, while the Sandaime and Tsunade positioned themselves forward, and had taken up defensive stances. Seeing this, Orochimaru quickly realized what his former teammate was up to. Jiraiya-kun is planning to use his Sage mode. If he were to succeed, it would make things even more troublesome. Wasting no time, Orochimaru quickly ordered the Shodai and the Nidaime to attack. Enter Naruto Shippuden OST 1 Denkuseka, lightning speed. As soon as Orochimaru gave the order, the two Hokages raced forward and split up in an attempt to outflank Sarutobi and Tsunade. The Nidaime was the first to attack, where he fired several high-speed water blasts at Jiraiya, who was busy trying to gather natural energy and needed to stay perfectly still. Before the water blasts could hit Jiraiya, the Sandaime intervened and used Enma to skillfully block the water attacks. After which he then had Enma extend forward and hit his former teacher square in the chest, sending him flying into the barrier and causing him to burst into flames. At the same time, at the opposite end of the battlefield, Tsunade was busy defending herself against her grandfather, the Shodai Hokage. After blocking her grandfather's path to Jiraiya, Tsunade entered into a fierce taijutsu battle. As the fight continued, the Shodai proved to be a difficult opponent for his granddaughter to face, even though she had the advantage in strength. He had the advantage in skill and fighting experience given the countless battles he fought during the Great Shinobi Clan Wars, the founding of Konoha and the First Great Shinobi World War. It was made even more difficult when Hashirama used his Moku Bunshin no Jutsu wood clone technique to create 3 more copies of himself and had him attack Tsunade. When the Shodai and the 3 clones attacked, Tsunade was pushed entirely on the defensive where she did her best to avoid and block all their punches and kicks. It was only thanks to her enhanced training that allowed her to keep up and avoid her grandfather and his clones' attacks. Using her enhanced strength, Tsunade was able to keep Hashirama and his clones at bay, but it was not without cost, where she received a slight wound on her left side from one of his Mokuton attacks. Seeing that Tsunade was wounded, the Shodai and his clones decided to attack all at once in the hope of overwhelming the blonde woman. Realizing what they were doing, Tsunade immediately smashed her fist onto the rooftop, creating a large cloud of dust and a large hole in the roof in the path of the former Senju clan head and his clones, forcing them to break up into pairs. When the 4 Hashiramas broke up, 2 of the wood clones stood close to one another, while the dust cloud surrounded them, knowing that if they broke up they would be vulnerable to a sneak attack. But their caution soon proved to their undoing when they sensed a presence above them and saw Tsunade falling down towards them while preforming a powerful axe kick. Acting fast, the 2 wooden clones separated, narrowly avoiding the deadly axe kick, which created another large hole in the roof. After avoiding Tsunade's attack, one of wood clones attempted a strong side kick from Tsunade's left. But instead was caught by the slug princess, who then swung him into the second clone, who tried to attack her from the opposite side. When the 2 clones crashed into each other, Tsunade immediately jumped away and activated the exploding notes she had planted on the first clone when she caught his kick and destroyed them both. But no sooner had she destroyed the 2 clones, the real Shodai Hokage appeared and hit her in her wounded side with a strong spinning kick, sending her crashing onto the roof tiles. With the intent on finishing her off, the last wood clone appeared above Tsunade and preformed its own falling axe kick down on her head. But before the attack could make contact, Tsunade flipped backwards onto her feet at the last second, and preformed a supercharged reverse heel kick, right into the side of the clone's head, destroying it instantly. End Naruto Shippuden OST 1 Denkuseka, Lightning Speed. Impressive Tsunade-chan, you've indeed become quite strong. But it seems that you're now nearing your limit, said the founder of Konoha. Who could see that Tsunade was sweating and panting heavily and was bleeding baldly in her side, and would not last for too much longer without treatment. I'm not dead yet, the woman replied stubbornly, while at the same time thinking, come on Jiraiya, how much more time do you need? I don't know how much longer I can hold him back. When Tsunade glanced back at her teammate, she saw Orochimaru moving towards Jiraiya at high speed, intending to impale their former teammate with Kusanagi no Tsurugi. Jiraiya, look out! Cried Tsunade before she was forced to move away, when the Shodai took advantage of her distraction. Seeing Orochimaru heading for him, Jiraiya prepared to move, but before he could, the Sandaime intervened and slammed his former student in the side of his head with a forward kick, sending him tumbling across the ground. Jiraiya, focus on, gather your energy, leave Orochimaru to me. Nodding to his teacher, Jiraiya then quickly closed his eyes again and continued to gather more natural energy. You'll pay for that, old man, Orochimaru hissed as he slowly stood up and pointed his sword at the old Hokage. You're welcome to try, my foolish student, the Sandaime replied as he took a standard Bojutsu stance. Incredible, what a battle, muttered one of the Anbu as he watched the Sandaime battle Orochimaru and Tsunade fight the Shodai Hokage. Indeed, they are far above us, but I fear the Hokage-sama is nearing his limit, since he is barely keeping Orochimaru at bay, spoke the Anbu commander. What is Jiraiya-sama doing, why is he just standing there? Asked another Anbu. I do not know, the Anbu commander replied, but if the Hokage-sama and Tsunade-sama are going to such an extent to protect him, it must be important. Maybe he is gathering chakra for some sort of jutsu, said the first Anbu. Perhaps, answered the Anbu commander, but for now all we can do is wait, and hope that it works. As the fight between the Sandaime and Orochimaru continued, the snake Sennin jumped away from his old sensei and used his Senjutsu, hidden shadow snake hands technique to fire several dozen snakes at the Sandaime, who quickly began to spin Enma around in high speed to destroy the snakes. But no sooner had he dealt with the Sank, he suddenly heard Jiraiya shout, "Sensei above you." When Sarutobi looked up, he saw Orochimaru in midair above him, attempting to stab him with his sword. Acting fast, Sarutobi quickly stabbed Enma into the ground and had him extend forward, allowing him to escape Orochimaru's sneak attack without any injury. Enter Naruto Shippuden OST 2 Rising Dragon. Orochimaru on the other hand was not so fortunate, as the Sandaime left a surprise for his former pupil in the form of an exploding note, which he left behind just before he had Enma propel him away. Shit! Cursed Orochimaru as he tried to jump away but was caught in the blast slightly and injured in his left shoulder. But before he could even assess his injuries, the wind was taken right out of him when he was hit right in the chest by Enma in his pole form. After which Sarutobi had him extend forward again, knowing that the snake Sennin would be unable to avoid the attack while he was in midair. But just when the Sandaime, though he had his fallen student, Orochimaru, exploded in a puff of smoke, revealing he had replaced himself with a Kage Bunshin shadow clone. "How foolish do you think I am, sensei?" cried Orochimaru, who was racing towards the old Hokage from behind, with his sword forward. "Damn it," cried the Sandaime as he turned around and tried to block Orochimaru's stab with Enma, but was sent flying back by the force of the attack. After sending the Sandaime crashing across the rooftop, Orochimaru followed up his assault by throwing several kunai with exploding notes tied to them, and detonated them as soon as they stabbed the roof tiles around the Sandaime Hokage, who fortunately was able to avoid the explosion by using Enma extending pole technique to propel him up onto a large nearby tree. But when his feet touched the trunk of the tree, Orochimaru unleashed another assault on the Hokage by summoning several snakes from his sleeves and having them spit acid at the Sandaime, who was forced to maneuver around the large tree to avoid the deadly venom spit, which melted anything it touched. Eventually Orochimaru was able to hit the Sandaime in the leg with his snake's venom, after which he then launched the snakes at his wounded teacher, which then latched onto his neck and bit him. Seeing this, Orochimaru smirked, believing he had finally killed his old teacher. But his smirk disappeared just as quickly as it appeared, when he saw the Sandaime explode into a puff of smoke, revealing he had replaced himself with a Kage Bunshin. Realizing he had been tricked, Orochimaru immediately looked around for his teacher and quickly found him, standing above him on a large branch of another tree, where he then spat out a massive stream of fire, which hit the snake Sennin dead on. End Naruto Shippuden OST 2 Rising Dragon. Sarutobi, you fool, you can't be using Kage Bunshin, in your state, you're not as young as you were, you're just wasting your strength, yelled Enma after the Sandaime ended his attack. "I'm fine, just don't worry about me, pant, answered the tired Sarutobi, who was sweating and breathing even harder than he did before. After fire from his attack died down, the Sandaime quickly jumped down next to the spot where he hit Orochimaru. But instead of seeing his corpse, all he found was a burnt skin, which turned to ash the moment he touched it. Damn it, he escaped. Hiruzen thought angrily and started to look for any sign of his fallen pupil. But before he could begin his search, Sarutobi's attention was caught by the sudden appearance of his other pupil Tsunade, who landed next to him in a small heap, covered in cuts and dire blood and small pieces of wood sticking out of her arms and legs, not to mention the nasty wound on her side. "Tsunade, are you all right?" a worried Sarutobi asked as he kneeled down to his only female student. "Not exactly," Tsunade replied as she slowly got back up onto her feet with the help of her old teacher. Once Tsunade was back on her feet, the two Konoha shinobi saw the Shodai Hokage appeared in front of them. "Damn it, I just need a little more time," thought Jiraiya, as he watched Tsunade and the Sandaime prepare to fight the Shodai Hokage. As the battle progressed, the Sandaime and Tsunade found it difficult to keep up with the Shodai, due to their injuries and weariness from battling for so long and hard. It got even worse for the two when Orochimaru joined the fight, where he succeeded in wounding the Sandaime in his right arm with a slash from the Kusanagi no Tsurugi. But as bad as things were, it was nothing compared to when the restored Nadaime Hokage appeared and fired a giant water dragon at Jiraiya, who could not move since he was still gathering energy and was hit dead on by the water attack and slammed into the large tree behind him. "Jiraiya!" cried the Sandaime and Tsunade together, who could do nothing to help, since they had their hands full with Orochimaru and the Shodai Hokage. Kukukuku, that's one down, Orochimaru thought with a sickening smirk. But no sooner had this smirk appeared, it disappeared just as quickly when a massive blast of fire erupted from the large hole Jiraiya made in the tree, when the Nadime's water dragon hit him, and hit the brother of the Shodai Hokage dead on, blasting him away. After the blast, everyone's attention turned to the direction of where the blast came from and could hear voices talking from the hole inside the tree. Hey kid, why'd always summon us to annoying places like this? Said a female voice. It's no wonder Bunter is always so ticked off with you. 3. Ah, don't be like that, Ma, said another voice which was clearly male. Jiraiya-chan always has his reason for doing it, besides. For crying out loud, be quiet, Pa, said the female voice angrily. I know it's been a while, and I truly do apologize for meeting you both again in such a place, Ma, Pa, said Jiraiya. It's alright, forget it, but still, kid, weren't ya complaining that ta way this form affects your face will chase away them dames? Said the male voice. Yeah, well, like it or not, it's something I have to deal with. My opponents are Orochimaru the Shodai and Nadime Hokage Samas, whom Orochimaru revived and is controlling with the Edo Tensei Impure World Reincarnation. Orochimaru, Edo Tensei, and the Shodai and Nadime Hokage Samas. Are you serious, Jiraiya-chan? The male voice asked in surprise. I'm afraid so, replied Jiraiya. Well then I guess it can't be helped then, said the male voice. Moments later Jiraiya finally emerged from the hole, allowing everyone to see him. When Jiraiya emerged from the hole in the tree everyone could see that his appearance had changed. The lines on his face had become much thicker, taking over each side of his face. His nose had grown bigger and gained warts, and he had gained excess hair and toad-like eyes. But the most notable change to his appearance was the two small toads, who were wearing capes, fused to his shoulder, making it seem like he had 3 heads. The first toad on Jiraiya's right shoulder was green in color and was clearly male, given his appearance. He had white hair styled in somewhat like a mohawk, along with thick eyebrows and a small goatee. The second toad on Jiraiya's left shoulder was green underside with purple marking around her mouth and the back of her body. The top of her head looked as though she is wearing a hairnet with hair rollers underneath, giving her an old woman look. You should really learn how to use Sage Mode by yourself, Jiraiya-chan, said the male toad. Sorry Pa, but when compared to you two, I still have a long way to go. But for now can you lead me a hand with these 3? HMF, well we can't very well go and leave you here to fend for yourself, replied the female toad. Hey, thanks Ma, replied Jiraiya with a smirk before he jumped out of the hole and down onto the tile roof, causing a small crater as he landed, surprising those around. So that's Jiraiya's Sage Mode. Tsunade thought to herself when she saw her teammate's new appearance. It seems things have now become even more difficult, Orochimaru thought with a frown. Interesting, commented the Shodai Hokage, looks like Sarurobi's student can use Sage Mode too. What's going on? What has happened? What are those toads on Jiraiya-sama's head? Asked one of the Anbu. I'm not certain, but I believe that is Jiraiya-sama's Sage Mode, answered the Anbu commander. Sage Mode, repeated the second Anbu. Yes, I had heard stories about, but honestly I did not know if they were true or not, replied the Anbu commander. According to the stories, when in this form, Jiraiya's powerful is greatly magnified. Then there's a chance he could defeat Orochimaru and the Hokage Samas, said the first Anbu. Perhaps, but it is too soon to tell. After Jiraiya made his appearance in his new form, the Nadime Hokage reappeared and rejoined Orochimaru and the Shodai Hokage. Like his brother, Tobirama eyed Jiraiya's new form with interest. So that's your old teammate Orochimaru, Ma remarked as she eyed the snake Sennin carefully and could sense the dark malevolent aura coming from him. And those are indeed Ta Shodai Hokage Sama and Ta Nadime Hokage Sama, said Pa as he narrowed his eyes. Shortly after Tsunade and Sarutobi made their way over to Jiraiya and stood next to the toad Sennin. Hey, so this is the Sage Mode that you used to brag about so much, commented Tsunade with a small smirk. I just hope it was worth all the trouble we went through. Trust me Haim, you will be in complete awe of my power, once I cut loose, replied Jiraiya with his own smirk before a serious look appeared. You and Sensei should step back, both of you have done more than enough, it's time I pulled my weight. Are you sure you can handle them both by yourself? The Sandaime asked, not liking the idea of leaving Jiraiya to fight Orochimaru and the two Hokages by himself. He won't be alone, he'll have us. Ma said with a confident look, besides y'all two are both too tired and injured to keep up with us, y'all just get in tar way. Ma's right, y'all both need to rest for a bit and treat you injuries while y'all can, leave these three tar Jiraiya-chan and us, said Pa. Knowing that the two old toad sages were right, both Tsunade and Sarutobi jumped back to a safe spot, allowing Tsunade to treat their respected injuries. At the same time, Jiraiya slowly walked over to Orochimaru and the two former Hokages, and stopped when they were only a few meters apart. So this is your sage mode, commented Orochimaru in a mocking tone. Well, I must say, Jiraiya-kun, it's a rather becoming look for you, Kakukaku. Ignoring his former friend's taunts, Jiraiya calmly stared at the three shinobi, waiting to see which of them would make the first move. Geez, this just had to happen during our dinner time, grumbled Ma. Ma, instead of dinner, focus on tar enemy. Excuse me. Well, I guess it's finally time for the main event, said Jiraiya as he slowly began to go into his introduction dance. For now on, I'll switch from my ninjutsu to my senjutsu. Behold my angelic halo, shining from the heavens above. The gallant Jiraiya, Gao. Stop yelling into my ear, dang it. Shouted Ma and Pa together, as they punched Jiraiya in opposite cheeks, squishing his face together. Why is it that there is always someone ruining my poses? Jiraiya thought sadly. Now, let's hurry up and get this over with, an annoyed Ma said, I need to put the dinner on. Ma, could ya forget about dinner for the moment? Said an irritated Pa. We gotta worry about the two revived Hokages, they practically indestructible thanks to the Edo Tensei. Shut your trap, I'm the one mackin' the dinner every day. It's tough being a housewife these days, ye senile old fart. What's tar hell's your problem, woman? I'm over here worryin' about ya and ya just keep mouthin' off at me. Now, who are the ones screaming in whose ear? Jiraiya thought as he listened to the two old couple argue with one another, while shouting in both his ears. At the same time, everyone who was watching the three toad sages all had large sweat drops on the back of their heads, and were unsure how to make the situation. Given how Ma and Pa had completely forgotten about the situation they were in and were too busy arguing with one another to care. Having enough of the two old toads bickering, Orochimaru ordered the Nadaime Hokage to attack. But just as the former Hokage had reached Jiraiya, he was sent flying back with incredible force and into a large tree directly behind Orochimaru, thanks to a strong kick from the Gamma Sennin. Impressive, Orochimaru remarked, who was completely unfazed by what just happened. Now then, can we save your martial disputes for a later time and finish thing already? Jiraiya asked, hoping that his two teachers would turn their attention on their opponents. I guess I'll just fry something up then, Ma said before preforming a hand seal. Kid, you bring tar oil, Pa you bridge and tar wind. Right, said both male toad sages, who like Ma formed their own hand seals and inhaled deeply. After which the three toad sages thought, Senpo, Gomen, sage art, Gomen. Where Pa spat out a large stream of wind, which combined with the large stream of oil that Jiraiya spat out, and the large stream of fire from Ma. Combined together, the three techniques created a giant wave of boiling oil that encompassed the entire arena and enveloped Orochimaru and the Shodai Hokage. At the same time, Tsunade and the Sannin were forced to jump up into the trees for safety due to the boiling oil covering much of the rooftop. Damn it, Jiraiya, you idiot, don't forget we're here too. Tsunade thought angrily as she and Sarutobi watched the boiling oil cover the rooftop and slowly start to burn the surrounding trees. After a few minutes the level of the oil began to fall, due to the large holes Tsunade made in the roof when she was fighting the Shodai Hokage. Once the boiling oil had all but gone, Jiraiya looked to see how much damage his attack caused. But to his surprise, instead of seeing charred burnt bodies, like the Nadaime Hokage, he saw a large wooden dome, which had somehow withstood the attack. Shit, his Mokuton techniques are a lot stronger than I thought, Jiraiya commented, before jumping into the air and said, but let's see how you do against this, Chudama Rasengan Ultra Big Ball Spiraling Sphere. And created a giant Rasengan that was easily 3 times his own size. But when the attack hit, instead of breaking, the wooden dome withstood the attack and actually pushed Jiraiya and his attack back. Impossible. How did it withstand Jiraiya's attack? Tsunade said in shock, while treating the Sannin. Sarutobi on the other hand was not surprised that the Shodai's wooden dome had withstood and forced Jiraiya's Chudama Rasengan back. Before his death, the Shodai had once told Sarutobi about his final battle against Madara, who had summoned the Kyuubi in an attempt to overthrow Hashirama from his position as Hokage. During the battle, the Kyuubi had used its Bijudama-tailed beast ball, which Hashirama blocked and deflected with the very same defense. This was why it was no surprise to the Sandaime that the Shodai's Mokujoheiki wood-locking wall was strong enough to not only block Jiraiya's attack, but also force it back, since the Rasengan was based on the Bijudama. After being forced back by the Shodai's wooden dome defense, Jiraiya flipped through the air and landed on a large tree branch. I don't believe it, I was once able to hollow out an entire mountain with that technique, and yet he threw it back at me like it was a beach ball, thought the Toad Sage with a stunned look. Shortly after Jiraiya was thrown back, the Shodai lowered the wooden dome around him and Orochimaru, who had a large smirk on his face. What one would expect from the man who once held the title of Kami no Shinobi. As Jiraiya stared down at Orochimaru and the revived Shodai Hokage, Pa suddenly shouted, "Behind you." Heading the old toad's warning, Jiraiya glanced back and saw the Nadaime Hokage appear behind him. Acting quickly, Pa took out a smoke bomb from his robes and threw it, causing it to explode and create a large cloud of smoke. Using the smoke as cover, Jiraiya sneaked up behind the Nadaime Hokage and punched him right in the face, sending the former Hokage flying forward and crashing onto the tile roof below. After seeing the Nadaime being sent flying out of the cloud of smoke, Orochimaru and the Shodai waited for Jiraiya to appear out of the smoke. Knowing this, Jiraiya then sent out a small toad summon to distract them, allowing him to sneak up behind them and use his Kebari Senbon hair needle Senbon technique to fire a barrage of chakra-enhanced hair strands. But to his shock, the Shodai Hokage was somehow able to react in time to block the technique by creating a wooden wall in behind him and Orochimaru, protecting them from the hair needles. The Shodai Hokage Sama doesn't waste a single move. If he and Orochimaru had tried to dodge, I would have had them. Instead, he created a wooden wall to shield an attack coming from behind. He really is a terrifying man. Jiraiya-chan, Luca, shouted Pa suddenly and pointed toward Tsunade, who was still treating the Sandaime. When Jiraiya turned to Tsunade's and Sarutobi's direction, he saw the renewed Nadaime Hokage racing towards them. Damn it, Tsunade is too busy treating Sarutobi-sensei to defend herself in time, Jiraiya thought. Don't worry Jiraiya-chan, we'll deal with him, Ma said as she formed a single-hand seal and thought, Zesenbaku, fighting tongue bind. And channeled her Senjutsu chakra into her tongue, allowing it to grow to its maximum length, and fired it at the Nadaime Hokage. Seeing her deceased ancestor racing towards her, Tsunade tried to move the Sandaime out of the way. But before the Nadaime could reach them, Ma's tongue appeared and wrapped itself around the former Hokage, restraining him and holding him in midair. After capturing the Nadaime, Ma then had her tongue throw the late Hokage into the air, allowing Pa to hit him with his Zesenzen, fighting tongue slash, splitting the former Senju clan head in two. 4. Nice one, said Jiraiya before he was forced to jump away to avoid a sword strike from Orochimaru. But no sooner had he jumped up into the air, Orochimaru used his Senjutsu, hidden shadow snake hands, to fire several snakes at his former teammate, which wrapped themselves around Jiraiya's left leg. This then allowed Orochimaru to swing the Toad Sage around and into a tree. Unfortunately though for the former Sannin, the attack did little damage to Jiraiya, who easily picked himself up after crashing into the large tree. Since thanks to the enhanced durability of being in the Sage mode, Jiraiya could fall on a bed of spikes and come out of it without so much as a scratch. Realizing he needed to even the playing field, Jiraiya quickly made a shadow clone of himself and had it attack the Shodai Hokage, while he dealt with Orochimaru. After being created, Jiraiya's shadow clone quickly started forming hand seals and thought Kaiten, Enden, fire style, big flame bullet. Before expelling a massive fire blast. With no time to waste, the Shodai Hokage used his Mokujoheiki wood-locking wall to protect himself from the fire blast. After which he then created several wooden tentacles underneath Jiraiya's clone and had them wrap themselves around him. But before they could fully bind the clone, it switched itself with a wooden log and escaped the binds. After which the clone used Yomi Numa, swamp of the underworld, to turn the tile roof underneath the Shodai's feet into mud, causing him to sink into it like quicksand. Acting quickly, the Shodai immediately formed a ram seal and channeled his chakra underneath him, causing a large number of large wooden tentacles to form underneath him and lift him out of the miniature swamp. Once he was free, the Shodai then had his wooden tentacles attack Jiraiya's clone. who was forced to jump around to avoid them, but was eventually hit by the late Hokage, who appeared above him and kicked him hard in the side of the head, causing him to disappear. As soon as he had dealt with Jiraiya's clone, the Shodai turned to the real Jiraiya, who was busy fighting with Orochimaru. For the most part of their fight, Orochimaru struggled with holding Jiraiya off, given how his Sage mode proved more formidable than he had anticipated, where it not only increased his strength, durability and ninjutsu, but also increased his speed. He was only just able to keep his former teammate at bay by using the Kusanagi no Tsurugi. But he soon lost that advantage when Ma pulled the sword out of his hand with her long tongue, giving Jiraiya the chance to punch his former comrade. Seeing the punch, Orochimaru quickly moved his head out of the way, but no sooner had he done this, he was sent flying away by a powerful hit and crashed into one of the nearby trees. How did that Jiraiya do that? I'm certain I avoided his hit, but he was still able to hit me. Orochimaru thought in confusion, before Jiraiya appeared in front of him and prepared to deliver the final blow. This is where it heads, Orochimaru, said Jiraiya with a determined look. But before he could deal the fatal blow, the Toad Sage was sent flying sideways by a powerful kick from the Nadaime Hokage, who suddenly reappeared next to Orochimaru. Recovering quickly, Jiraiya prepared to attack, but before he could do anything, he heard Ma shout, "Jiraiya-chan, look out." Looking up, Jiraiya saw the Shodai Hokage flying in the air, preparing to hit him. Damn it, thought Jiraiya, knowing he could not block or dodge this attack in time. But before the Shodai could hit him, he was sent flying by a double kick from Tsunade and the Sandaime, who now appeared next to Jiraiya. Looks like I owe both again, thanks. No thanks needed, Jiraiya, replied Sarutobi. You sure you're well enough to continue fighting, old man? I will be fine, Jiraiya, I have no intention of dying, just try not to use too much of your chakra, sensei. I may be able to help heal your body, but I can't restore your chakra reserves, which are already pretty low, warned Tsunade. Your concern is appreciated, Tsunade, but I have no intention of leaving all the fighting to you and Jiraiya. This is my mistake and I intend to fix it, no matter the cost, the old Hokage replied stubbornly. As the three Konoha nins continued to speak to one another, the Shodai Hokage quickly moved over to Orochimaru and his brother. After which then Nadaime began forming hand seals before yelling, Genjutsu, Kokuangyo no Jutsu, illusion technique, bringer of darkness technique, causing the entire area to be once again encased in darkness. Shit, not this technique again, grumbled Jiraiya, where he, Tsunade and Sarutobi were forced on the defensive, and went back to back with one another, making sure that Orochimaru or the former Hokages did not sneak up on them. Enter Naruto OST 3 Hokage theme. After taking up the positions next to one another, the Sandaime and his two former students waited and listened quietly for the sound of incoming enemy attacks, which soon came in the form of shuriken. Hearing the sound of the spinning shuriken, the three shinobi acted quickly, using their quick reflexes, which they developed from years of battle, to deflect the flying shuriken. But as they were busy deflecting the projectiles, the Shodai and the Nadaime snuck up on the three shinobi, where the Shodai punched the Sandaime in the stomach, sending him flying. After which the Nadaime came up behind both Tsunade and Jiraiya and kicked them in the back, sending them flying in opposite directions. Recovering quickly, the three Konoha shinobi landed on their feet and tried to defend themselves in the darkness, listening for any sounds. Shortly after, they heard the sounds of feet racing toward each of them and were forced to defend themselves from different attack. Like Jiraiya and the Sandaime, Tsunade fought furiously against her opponent, who she soon realized was her grandfather, after getting stabbed in the leg by a wooden spear. After breaking the spear and pulling it out of her leg, Tsunade pressed on with the fight, unwilling to give up. The female Senju leapt into the air and attempted another falling axe kick, only to miss when the Shodai took a step back and then preformed a leg swipe, which Tsunade avoided by jumping into the air and flipping over her grandfather. Once her feet were back on the tiled rooftop, Tsunade made a series of lightning-fast japs that were enhanced with her super strength. But each and every single one of them was skillfully avoided or deflected by her grandfather, who then tried to hit her with spinning backhand, but missed when she ducked under it and hit him with a powerful uppercut that nearly blew the Shodai's head off. Realizing she had the advantage, Tsunade tried to finish it with one more punch to the stomach with her right arm. But before she could hit him, Tsunade suddenly found her right arm caught in the Shodai's wooden binds and thrown across the ground. At the same time, at other end of the field, the dark field, the Sandaime was busy fighting Orochimaru, where he was eventually able to knock Orochimaru's sword out of his hand. Despite being disarmed by the Sandaime, Orochimaru continued mock the old Hokage as they fought. Do you really think you can win, sensei? Orochimaru asked mockingly. This village is not only being attacked by my forces, but by the forces of Tsunade. Your people, the Konoha shinobi, will all die, right down to the last woman and child, none will be spared. The destruction of Konoha will succeed. After saying this, Orochimaru kicked the Sandaime in the stomach and started to laugh. That will never happen, spoke Sarutobi as he held his stomach in pain and used Enma as support. As Hokage, it is my duty to protect Konoha. Like all those before me who had held the title of Hokage, I am the man who inherited the will of fire from the Shodai and the Nadaime Hokage, the will of Konoha. So, you cannot easily defeat us. Phew 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 phew, what a load of dribble, it's nothing more than a bad joke, said Orochimaru. You are merely the temporary head of an organization called Konoha. Even the carved stone's faces will eventually weather away and decay. If you really think that, Orochimaru, then you are more of a fool than I realized, Sarutobi remarked with a painful smirk as he thought about all the different people in his village. The village of Konoha is not just an organization to me. Many shinobi are born in this village every year, and they grow. Like those before them, they live, fight and die to protect this village. Even though many of them are not blood related, they all share the same will, and are a family. Hey, then I will break you, its support, along with Jiraiya and Tsunade, and destroy the house you Konoha, retorted the snake Sennin. Even if you kill me, the support will not be broken, not even if you somehow kill Tsunade and Jiraiya as well. A new Hokage will rise to stop you, and he or she will have inherited the will of fire from me, which was passed down by those who held the title before me, just as the Yondaime Hokage did. Tisk, the will of fire, you still rambling about that? Orochimaru said with a sneer. It's nothing but a fickle flame, that is on the verge of dying out along with this village. You still do not understand, Orochimaru, said the Sandaime. You should not underestimate us or the shinobi of our village. Like us, they will fight you with the very lives to defend this village, and you have clearly forgotten what I have taught you. That when a shinobi fights to protect something that is important to them, their true strength will appear, you will never succeed. Annoyed by his old sensei continued defiance, Orochimaru went back on the attack. Not far from him, an injured Tsunade struggled to get up, holding her now bleeding arm and leg. Damn it, cursed Tsunade as she tried to form a hand seal to use a healing jutsu, but was forced down by a strong kick to the chest and was followed by someone placing their foot on her throat, nearly crushing it. In an attempt to force her late grandfather off her, Tsunade tried to grab his leg with her uninjured hand, but was stopped when the Shodai placed his other foot on her hand, nearly breaking it in the process. No, I can't die now, not like this, Tsunade thought as tried to think of a way to free herself, since she couldn't use her injured arm. I am sorry, Tsunade, please forgive me, said the Shodai sadly as he held a kunai in the air and prepared to stab Tsunade in the head. Knowing what was to come, Tsunade instinctively closed her eye, ignoring that fact that she couldn't see to begin with, and silently prayed that her son would be safe and that Shizune and the others would be there for him. But before the fatal blow could be dealt, the famed Senju clan head was sent flying off his granddaughter by a powerful kick to the face that sent him crashing right into his brother, who had been fighting Jiraiya and had inadvertently ended up being the Shodai's path when he was sent flying by the unknown person's kick. End Naruto OST 3 Hokage theme. After the Shodai crashed into the Nadaime Hokage, the genjutsu immediately dispelled itself, allowing Tsunade and the others to see again. At the same time, Tsunade slowly opened her eyes after feeling the Shodai getting off her. Once her eyes fully opened, she saw the genjutsu being lifted, allowing her to see who had saved her. When she looked up to the person who had saved her, her eyes widened in shock when she saw a familiar mess of spiky blonde hair and an equally familiar long, short-sleeve white coat with red flames on the edges. At first, upon seeing the person, Tsunade thought Minato. But just as quickly as she thought this, reality caught up with her and she realized that she was in fact looking at her son Naruto, who was staring angrily at his two ancestors, who were lying on top of one another. I don't care if you two are my ancestors, if either one of you tries to hurt my Ka-chan again, I will put you both back into the ground, permanently, Naruto said angrily as she started to crack his knuckles in a similar manner to his mother. The kid, Jiraiya thought in shock when he saw his godson. What the blazes is he doing here? Jiraiya-chan, who the hell is that? Ma asked in surprise when she saw Naruto. That's Tsunade's son Naruto. Tsunade's son. Then that mean he's Ma said in surprise before she was stopped by her husband. Hush Ma, there's no need for ya to say any more, remember what Gamabunat told us. At this the female toad sage just nodded, since Gamabunta had explained to them about Naruto along with why his full heritage needed to be kept secret. After stopping his wife, Pa then turned to look at Naruto, who was still staring angrily at his late forefathers. Ta resemblance is uncanny between Ta too, with Ta exception of a few small differences, he's Ta spitting image of his father, the old toad sage thought. Pa and Ma had of course met Jiraiya's late student shortly after he made Jonin. Jiraiya had introduced the three in the hope that Minato would one day begin training as a toad sage and truly become Jiraiya's successor. Sadly though that never happened since shortly after becoming Hokage, Konoha came under attack from the Kyuubi and Minato was forced to sacrifice himself to protect Konoha. At the same time Orochimaru and the Sandaime also stopped their fight when they saw Naruto kick the Shodai Hokage off Tsunade and into the Nadaime Hokage. Naruto-kun, but how did he get by the barrier? The Sandaime thought in surprise. It seems Kabuto failed, Orochimaru thought with a small frown. No matter, in fact this makes things easier, after I've done with these three, I can take Naruto-kun myself. Seeing his former student was distracted with the arrival of Naruto, the Sandaime quickly took advantage of the situation and had Enma extend forward and hit the snake Sennin in the stomach, sending the former Sannin crashing into one of the nearby trees. Once Orochimaru had been dealt with, Sarutobi quickly leapt over to Naruto and Tsunade. What's fuck is going on? Who the hell is that brat? Said the red-headed girl. You need to calm down Tayuya and control your language, said the bulky teen. As for that kid, I think that might be Senju Naruto, one of the potential vessels that Orochimaru-sama is after. I don't care who the hell he is, what I want to know is how the hell did he get in there? Said the white-haired teen. Who knows, but I've got to admit, I like the kid's guts, remarked the four-armed Oto-nin with a small smirk. Is that Tsunade-sama son? Asked one of the Anbu shock. It can't be, said the other Anbu in surprise. It is, but how on earth was he able to bypass the barrier, when we couldn't? Asked the Anbu commander out loud. Naruto. But how did you, what are you doing here? Shouted a stunned Tsunade as she tried to stand up, but was stopped by the pain from her wounds. Seeing this Naruto quickly went over to his mother and used Shosen Jutsu, Mystic Palm technique, to heal her wounds. Don't move Ka-chan, let me heal you. Forget about me, tell why you're here, better yet tell me how you even got here in the first place. Tsunade asked urgently. That's what we would like to know as well. Asked Jiraiya, who appeared next to the two blonde Senjus along with the Sandaime. As he continued to heal his mother's injured, Naruto glanced up at the Toad Sage and was surprised at his godfather's new appearance, given how he hadn't really took notice of it until now. Given how he had been so focused on saving his mother. Aero Sennin, what happened to your face, better yet why do you have 3 heads, Naruto joked as he fought hard not to laugh a little. We're not heads, we're revered Toad Sages. Yelled the 2 elder toads angrily. This is my Toad Sage mode, you daft brat. And when the hell are you going to stop calling me by that name and start treating me with some respect? The moment you stop peeking in on girls when they are bathing, retorted Naruto with cheeky smirk, which grew when Ma slapped Jiraiya on the back of the head for having so little respect for women. Pa on the other hand chuckled slightly after hearing Naruto's nickname for Jiraiya, since he had to admit, it suited his old student perfectly. Soon enough though the mood took a more serious matter and everyone had a somber look. Now then perhaps you can tell us Naruto-kun, how did you get inside the barrier? Sarutobi asked. I got in by having Katsuya's clone use the Gyaku Kuchio's no Jutsu, reverse summoning technique, to teleport me to the slug's home in the Shikotsu forest. From there she then used Ka-chan link to summon us here, answered Naruto as finished healing his mother's leg and started on her arm. 5. Katsuya. Tsunade said in surprise, after which she finally took notice of the small slug clone on Naruto's left shoulder. My apologies Tsunade-sama, Naruto Dono was quite insistent in coming here to help you, spoke the small slug clone. At the same time Jiraiya, Sarutobi and the 2 Toad Sages had to silently compliment Naruto on coming up with such a clever way in bypassing the barrier. Kukukuku, very clever Naruto-kun, you never cease to impress me, spoke Orochimaru who was now in front of the group and was joined by the Shodai and the Nadaime Hokage. Car-chan, repeated the Shodai with a surprised look, before smiling, then that would make him my great-grandson. This is awesome, I have a great-grandson. So you had a son Tsunade. Spoke the Nadaime as he looked at Tsunade and then at Naruto. It pleases me to know that our family's line still continues. He also has a pretty strong kick as well, the Shodai remarked with a smirk as I can also tell from looking in his eyes that he has inherited my will and that the will of fire burns strongly in him. I must say Naruto-kun, I'm rather surprised that you are here, I was certain that my people would have captured you by now. If you're referring to that traitor Kabuto team, he's a little busy with some friends of mine, Naruto spat angrily, before he started to smirk a little. Also I think you should know that I've taken care of Gaara, so he won't be releasing Shukaku anytime soon. Upon hearing this, a large frown appeared on Orochimaru's face, since Gaara had been a major component to the destruction of Konoha. Tsunade and the others on the other hand smiled at the news, as it gave them hope. Well done my boy, thought a smiling Sandaime, before he hunched over slightly in pain and held his side in pain from the broken ribs he received earlier from Orochimaru's kick. Curse my frail old body. Seeing the Sandaime hunching over, Tsunade quickly turned to Naruto, who had just finished healing her wounded arm. Naruto, stay back and help Sarutobi-sensei. Jiraiya and I will hold back Orochimaru and the Hokage-samas. Nodding in understanding, Naruto quickly went over to his surrogate grandfather and helped him behind a large nearby tree, where he could heal him. Under most circumstances Naruto would have argued with his mother, stating he wanted to help. But given how they were facing Orochimaru and the revived Shodai and Nadaime Hokages, he knew that now was not the time to argue. Come on Gigi, I'll help you, said Naruto as he helped the old Hokage over to the tree. Thank you Naruto-kun, and I'm sorry you have to carry me like this. Don't sweat it Gigi. Seeing Naruto taking his old sensei way, Orochimaru quickly ordered the Shodai and the Nadaime to attack and capture Naruto. But as the two Hokages raced towards the two, they were intercepted by Jiraiya and Tsunade, who made sure that neither the deceased Hokages nor Orochimaru could get by them. As the battle between the five shinobi waged, Naruto was busy treating Sarutobi's internal injuries with the help of Katsuya's clone, who had moved off Naruto and onto the Sandaime and supplied healing chakra to the old man. You should not have come here Naruto-kun, this place is much too dangerous, said Sarutobi as he looked at the blonde boy. Tisk, like hell I couldn't, you guys are my family so there is no way I'm going to sit back and let anyone in my family be killed, replied Naruto as he focused on healing his surrogate grandfather and didn't bother to look up at the old Hokage. Smiling kindly at the boy, in a way that only a grandfather could, the Sandaime was reminded of Shodai's earlier statement about how the will of fire burned strongly in Naruto. You're a good boy Naruto, just like your father, the Sandaime said as he panted Naruto gently on the head in a caring manner. Sarutobi, is this boy really Tsunade's son? Enma spoke, who was still in his staff form but opened one of his eyes to look at the two. Knowing he could trust Enma, Sarutobi decided to tell his old friend the truth. Yes, Naruto is Tsunade's son, and he is also the Yondaime Hokage's son. The Yondaime Hokage, repeated Enma in shock, where his one visible eye widened in disbelief at the news, since it was surprising enough to hear that Tsunade had a child. But to hear that the Yondaime Hokage was the boy's father, it was more than the old monkey could take. Looking at Naruto again, the old monkey could indeed see the resemblance between the two. Yes I see, I can't believe that I didn't see the resemblance between the two of them sooner, thought the Monkey King. With the exception of his nose, chin, ears, and his skin color, which was lighter than the Yondaime, Naruto was almost an exact image of his father. The resemblance was highlighted even further with Naruto wearing the replica coat that his father wore. Here Gigi, you should take one of these, you will probably need it, said Naruto as he took out and handed the Sandaime a food pill. Grateful for the pick-me-up, Sarutobi quickly took the small pill and after a few seconds could feel chakra filling his body. While Naruto continued to heal his surrogate grandfather, his attention soon diverted to his mother who shouted, Sensei, Naruto watch out. Looking past the tree they were hiding behind, Naruto saw the Shodai, who had somehow gotten by Tsunade and Jiraiya and was racing towards them. Before either Naruto or the Sandaime could do anything about it, the Shodai appeared in front of them and hit Sarutobi away. My apologies my young descendant, but I have no choice in the matter, said the Shodai as he grabbed Naruto by the neck and lifted him up into the air. But no sooner had he done this, Naruto reverted into a wooden log, revealing that the younger Senju had replaced himself. Realizing what Naruto had done, Hashirama quickly scanned the field for the spiky hair blonde. Within moments the Konoha founder found his young descendant, who was only a couple of meters away from him, and spat out several large balls of water. With little time to waste, the former Senju clan head skillfully evaded all of Naruto's water balls and then formed a single hand seal and extended his arm forward. After which then he yelled, Mokuton, Daijuran no Jutsu, would release, great forest technique. Where his arm changed into a large tree and fired multiple wooden spears at Naruto, in an attempt to capture him. Seeing the wooden spears heading for him and knowing he couldn't avoid them all, Naruto preformed 3 quick hand seals and yelled, Mokuton, Mokujo Heiki, creating a large wooden dome around himself, protecting him from the wooden spears. Surprised by this, Hashirama was barely able to avoid the several wooden tentacles that erupted from the roof tiles underneath him. Shortly after the Shodai avoided the wooden tentacles, Naruto had his wooden barrier recede, where he then saw his ancestor heading straight for him. Acting quickly, Naruto formed several more hand seals and fired several wooden projectiles from his hands, which the Shodai deflected with the metal plates on his arms. After which he raced up to Naruto and he kneed his granddaughter's son hard in the stomach, sending the young boy crashing into a tree. But before the Shodai could act on what he had done, Naruto used his Banmachi vine whip technique to fire several vines from his arm. Seeing the vines, the Shodai easily sidestepped them and then grabbed hold of the long vines as they went by him and used them to pull Naruto over to him, where he kicked him again, causing the boy to fall to the ground. Oh, this is great, you can use Mokuton too, said the Shodai, with a surprised and excited look, before turning serious again as he kneeled down to pick Naruto up. In fact, it seems that your Mokuton limit is even more advanced than my own. It's incredible that you have learned to use it so well at your age. He might just be the one, and do what I could not, the former Hokage thought. Unwilling to give up, Naruto brought his fist up and tried to hit his great-grandfather with a supercharged fist to the face. But before his fist could hit the former Hokage, the Shodai caught Naruto's wrist and placed it in an arm lock, preventing the young blonde from moving. But just when the Shodai thought he had captured Naruto, suddenly heard a familiar female voice yell, "Get away from him." Before the Shodai could even turn to the direction of the voice, he was sent flying by a supercharged fist, which sent him through 2 trees and right into the barrier, causing him to burst into flames. Once the Shodai was sent flying, Naruto quickly found himself being helped up by his mother. Naruto, are you okay? Asked a worried Tsunade as she quickly looked over her son for any serious injuries. I'm fine, Ka-chan, assured Naruto. Good, now where's Katsuya's clone? Have her reverse summoning you back to the Shikotsu forest. I can't, replied Naruto, she was on Gigi when the Shodai kicked him away. Damn it, Tsunade thought angrily, since she didn't want her son to be here since it was too dangerous. Fine then, go find somewhere to hide and stay there until it is safe. After hearing this, Naruto naturally wanted to argue with his mother, since he hated the idea of hiding while his family were fighting for their lives. But after his brief skirmish with his great-grandfather, he became even more obvious to him that he was out of league here and that he would only get in the way. Okay, I will. Good boy, replied Tsunade with a smile before kissing her son on the forehead and then taking off to help Jiraiya and the Sannin, who had just rejoined the battle. Making his way up to the top of one of the trees, Naruto watched from his hiding spot as his family fought against Orochimaru and the Nadaime. Despite being outnumbered, the fallen Sannin and the former Hokage were more than able to hold their own. But as the fight dragged on, the Shodai Hokage reappeared, causing the battle to return to a 3-on-3 battle. His mother faced Orochimaru, Jiraiya went up against the Shodai and the Sannin fought the Nadaime. As the battle continued, the Sannin tried to catch his old sensei off guard by using Doru Tiger, Earth Flow River technique to turn the tiles underneath the Nadaime into a river of mud. This then caused the former Hokage to lose his balance, allowing the Sannin throw a single shuriken at the Nadaime and use his Kage Bunshin Shuriken no Jutsu, Shadow Clone Shuriken technique, to turn one shuriken into 1,000 shuriken. At the same time, in a remarkable feat of speed and skill, the Sannin used a Kaiten ninjutsu and blew it into the spinning projectiles, covering them in flames, increasing attacking power. Unable to do anything, the Nadaime just watched as the flaming projectile shredded his body and caused it to burst into flames. But as soon as this happened, the Nadaime reverted into water, revealing that he had replaced himself with a water clone. Realizing he had been tricked, the Sandaime started to scan the field for his opponent, but before he could finish looking around, he heard Katsuya clone, who was on his shoulder, shout, "Hokage-sama above you." Looking up, Sarutobi saw the Nadaime fall toward him, where his arm covered in a large amount of water, in the shape of a spinning drill. Not wanting to be hit, the Sandaime quickly leaped back, and narrowly avoiding the attack, which created a large hole in the roof and caused the water that made up the attack to fall into it, flooding the ground below. After avoiding the deadly water attack, the Sandaime immediately formed a new set of hand seals and exhaled a large stream of fire from his mount. Unafraid of the approaching fire attack, the Nadaime formed 5 quick hand seals and said, "Jikuken ninjutsu, Tenkan, space-time ninja technique, divert." He then raised the palm of his right hand up, which now had the symbol for "in" on it, and absorbed the fire stream, much to shock off the Sandaime and most of the others who saw this. After which he then raised his left palm up, which had the symbol for "out" on it, and released the fire, which flew straight for the Sandaime, who could do nothing to avoid or block it. But before the fire attack could hit, a large wooden dome appeared around the Sandaime and protected him from the fire attack. Surprised by this, the Nadaime looked around and soon saw Naruto standing up on the top of a large tree overlooking them. Standing next to Naruto was also a clone that was busy preforming hand seals for some sort of jutsu. "It seems Tsunade's son has inherited my brother's Mokuton powers," the Nadaime Hokage remarked, with a hit of surprise in his voice, since he did not think anyone other than his brother could perform Mokuton. Moments later, Naruto had the wooden dome retreat back into the ground, revealing the Sandaime. "It seems we own that boy our lives," commented Enma. "It would seem so," replied Sarutobi, while he kept a close eye on his late teacher, who was eyeing Naruto. "I foolish forgot about the Nadaime Hokage-sama Tenkan technique." As a former student of the Nadaime Hokage, Sarutobi was well aware that not only was the former Hokage a master without equal in Suton ninjutsu, but also a master in Jikuken ninjutsu. The only person ever to surpass him in skill in Jikuken ninjutsu was Naruto's father, the Yondaime Hokage, who used his knowledge to create his fabled Hiraishin no Jutsu, Flying Thunder God technique. After cursing himself for his thoughtlessness, the Sandaime glanced up at Naruto, and like the Nadaime noticed that Naruto had created a shadow clone, which was just finishing up preforming its hand seals. When the clone had finished its hand seals, it started to gather up the moisture from the surrounding air and plants, causing all the leaves and most of the top portion of the large tree to wither. Once it had gathered enough water, the water formed up into a massive dragon. At the same time, the real Naruto converted his chakra in his hands into lightning and channeled it into the water dragon, and yelled, "Reisuiruden, lightning water dragon bullet," as he and the clone sent the attack forward. "Impressive," commented the Nadaime Hokage when he saw Naruto and his clone not only create a massive water dragon from the moisture in the air and the surrounding plants, but also enhanced it with lightning. "That boy certainly has a lot of promise. It seems he has also inherited my talent for Suton ninjutsu. But still, he is a long way from my level." Clasping his hands into a single hand seal, the Nadaime then began to gather the moisture from the surrounding air and created his own water dragon, which collided with Naruto's. No way. He created his own water dragon with just a single hand seal. Naruto thought in disbelief, which only grew when the Nadaime's water dragon actually started to force his back and head straight for him. Realizing he needed to move, Naruto quickly jumped off the tree he had been standing on, but his clone was not so fortunate, where it was hit full force by the Nadaime's water dragon. "Unbelievable," thought Naruto as he landed on the ground. "He was actually able to force back my own water dragon, even when I enhanced it with my lightning chakra." In that moment, Naruto was beginning to fully understand why people hailed his great-uncle as the greatest water manipulator who ever lived. Shortly after recovering from his shock over what had just happened, Naruto noticed the Nadaime Hokage racing towards him at frightening speed. But before the former Hokage could reach him, he was sent flying back a few meters by the Sandaime, who appeared on his right side and kicked him in the side of the head. After kicking the Nadaime, the Sandaime landed in front of Naruto, preventing the younger brother of Senju Hashirama from getting to his descendant. "Naruto-kun, although I am appreciative of you for saving my life earlier on, you should leave. This is no place for you, as you are nowhere near ready to face opponents such as these. Please find somewhere safe and stay hidden," said Sarutobi without even looking at the blonde. Please follow the Hokage-sama request Naruto Dono, you're not safe here, spoke the Katsuya clone who decided to stay on the Sandaime and channel her healing chakra to him when he needed it. Frustrated over how he could do so little to help, Naruto quickly moved away to a safer location. As soon as Naruto had left, the Nadaime Hokage picked himself up, where he glanced at the retreating Naruto before turning to his former student. It seems my great-niece has raised an interesting young boy, Saru. The Nadaime Hokage remarked with an intrigued smirk, while using his old nickname for the Sandaime. I never would have expected him to inherit not only my brother's Mokuton bloodline limit, but also my talent for Suiten ninjutsu. Naruto-kun represents the promise of this new upcoming generation, and I have seen with my own eyes the great potential. I see, that is how it should be, the next generation should always be stronger than the last, the Nadaime replied before falling into a taijutsu stance, and prepared to continue his battle with his former student. After leaving the Sandaime to fight the Nadaime Hokage, Naruto made his way over to large tree, where he planned to use it as cover, as he watched the battle. But before he could reach it, a large object suddenly flew right by him and crashed into said tree. As the dust from the crash slowly began to settle, Naruto could hear several voices talking. Ow, goddammit, the Shodai sure knows how to hit, said a familiar voice. I told CA to watch out for his right, said a female voice. I did. I meant my right. Ma, we have the same right, said another voice. When the dust finally settled, Naruto could see that the object that had flew past him was none other than his godfather Jiraiya, in his sage mode. Hey Ero Sennin, are you okay? Naruto asked as he jumped over to the toad sage. Nothing that a good sponge bath from a certain female medic couldn't cure, said the white-haired Sannin with a pervy grin, before he received a hard kick to the leg, from a certain young blonde Senju, who had an annoyed look on his face and a large tick mark over his head. What was that for? That's for thinking of Car-chan in one of your perverted fantasy. Naruto rounded angrily. Hey, who says I was thinking of your mom, retorted Jiraiya, while at the same time thinking of Tsunade in a sexy nurse outfit. Because I know you. And stop thinking of Car-chan. Naruto yelled after seeing that Jiraiya still had a pervert look on his face, where he kicked the man hard in his other leg. Ow, that's no way to treat your elder's brat, yelled Jiraiya before he was slapped in the back of the head by Ma. This is no time for you to be daydreaming, Jiraiya-chan, rounded the female toad sage. Tisk, I get no respect from anyone, mumbled the annoyed Jiraiya as he rubbed the back of his head and lifted himself up. No sooner had he gotten back on his feet, the Shodai appeared in front of them. Get back, brat, you'll only get hurt if you stay here, said Jiraiya as he moved Naruto behind him. Are you sure you can handle him by yourselves? Car-chan always said that Hashirama Jisen was incredible strong. TCH, that's put it mildly, to be honest kid, the Shodai was the strongest shinobi who ever lived since the original Kami no Shinobi, said Jiraiya. The original Kami no Shinobi, thought Naruto curiously, since the only person he had even heard being called by that title was the Sandaime. But before Naruto could even ask his godfather about that, Jiraiya continued on speaking. In fact, even in my sage mode, I don't think I can beat him, the best I can do for now is hold him off. Just be thankful, Orochimaru held back the true strength, so to control them better, if he was using his full strength, Shodai couldn't destroy our entire village and kill us all single-handedly, said Pa, since the old toad knew how powerful the Shodai Hokage really was. I'm aware of that, said Jiraiya. Let me help, Naruto said, who despite knowing he was outmatched, wanted to help, even if it was only to give and support. Out of the question, shouted Ma suddenly, young'uns like you should stay back where it's safe and let us handle things. Sorry brat, but I with Ma on this one, besides if I did let you help, your mother would kill me for sure. After being denied by Jiraiya, Naruto tightened his fist in anger over not being able to do so little to help. But before he could respond, both his and the three toad sages' attention was drawn back to the Shodai Hokage, who had summoned a large scroll next to him. This can't be good, thought Jiraiya, where he watched the former Hokage open the scroll and revealed a large number of weapons. Taking up a large sword, the Shodai raced forward to attack Jiraiya, who immediately drew a kunai from his hip pouch and used it to block the sword and push Konoha founder away. But no sooner had Jiraiya pushed him away, the Shodai unleashed a hail of shuriken, which Pa sent flying back with tremendous speed by expelling a large gust of wind from his mouth. Seeing this, the Shodai quickly used his Mokuton bloodline to create a large tree which blocked the incoming shuriken. After which the two shinobi continued to clash blades with one another. Shortly after, the Shodai jumped away from Jiraiya and created several wooden tentacles from the titled roof and had him take hold of the other weapons he had summoned. He then had the wooden tentacles use the weapons to attack Jiraiya from all sides, putting the white-haired Sannin completely on the defensive. Whoa, I gotta learn to do that. Naruto thought as he watched his ancestor use his Mokuton bloodline limit in ways he never thought of. Eventually, after several minutes of blocking and dodging attacks, Jiraiya finally found an opening where he used it to form a Chudama Rasengan, which he used to destroy the wooden tentacles and create another massive hole in the rooftop and force everyone inside it to scatter after the explosion. Awesome, thought Naruto, after seeing Jiraiya use the Chudama Rasengan. I gotta get Ero Sennin to teach me that technique. After the explosion, the two opposing sides regrouped with their respected members and faced off against one another again. Upon joining up with Jiraiya and the Sandaime, Tsunade noticed that her son was with them. Naruto, I told you to stay hidden, what are you doing here? Sorry Ka-chan, but it's not my fault, I just keep getting caught up in the fights. Grunting, Tsunade shook her head in annoyance since Naruto always had trouble following orders when he thought he could help. This fight can't last much longer, if it drags on any further we'll lose, said Jiraiya. Agreed, we need to do something that will turn things to our favor, spoke the Sandaime. If we can take Orochimaru out, the odds would be more in our favor, even though eliminating him won't cancel the Edo Tensei impure world reincarnation. Leave Orochimaru to me, spoke Tsunade suddenly. Are you certain, Tsunade? Sarutobi asked. I am. After what that snake has done to my family, I won't let anyone else do it. Both you and Jiraiya each had your chance in finishing him, now it's mine. Besides, I have come up with something just for him, said the slug princess as she showed a kunai she had hidden in her robes before placing it back inside. Under normal circumstances, Jiraiya would have tried to stop Tsunade from facing someone like Orochimaru alone. But after seeing the look in his former teammate's eyes, the Toad Sage knew that trying would be pointless, since Tsunade was fixed on Orochimaru and would not be satisfied until she got her 10 pounds of flesh from Orochimaru. Okay Haim, you can have him, Sensei, and I will keep the Shodai and the Nadaime busy while you handle Orochimaru. Nodding her thanks, Tsunade turned to look at Naruto again. Naruto, you stay back and don't try to help, I mean it this time. Okay Ka-chan, I will, said Naruto, despite knowing he would probably break that promise if she saw his mother or the others in trouble. Nodding to this, Tsunade and the others quickly jumped over the large hole that Jiraiya's attack created and engaged the designated opponents. As planned, Jiraiya and the Sandaime separated the two former Hokages from Orochimaru, leaving Tsunade and the Snake Sannin alone to fight. Who quickly put the Snake Sannin on the defensive. Throughout the entire fight, Orochimaru had been surprised by how well Tsunade was faring against not only him but also against grandfather and great-uncle. Given the number of years she had spent in self-imposed exile, and in raising her son Naruto. Orochimaru had been certain that his former teammates' fighting skills would have dulled from lack of training and fighting. But instead, Tsunade's fighting skills seemed to be as sharp as ever. Although she was still far from her prime, she had proved to be a difficult opponent. In fact, the former Sannin noticed that some of Tsunade's fighting skills had even improved. But what Orochimaru didn't know was that Tsunade had not been slacking off in her training, as he originally believed. In fact, the female Sannin had not only been keeping up with her training, but had intensified it. So that she would remain in the best possible shape, allowing her to protect her son in the event that the Akatsuki or another shinobi group village came after him, after learning of his existence before he was officially revealed to the world. Phew, I have to say, Tsunade, you surprise me, you are faring much better than anticipated. But still, it's pointless, since you will Saint Gaara, said Orochimaru before being sent flying back by a strong kick to the face. You know what your problem is, Orochimaru. You talk too much, now get up. I'm not done with you yet, you're going to pay for what you have done to family. And believe me, by the time I'm done with you, you're going to wish you were dead, said Tsunade as she started to crack her knuckles again. But before that, you're going to release my grandfather and uncle from the Edo tension, then you will undo the curse seal from Naruto, and only then will you have my permission to die. And what if I were to refuse to do so? The pale-skinned man asked, as he slowly stood up and wiped the blood from his lip from Tsunade's kick. Oh, you will, once I'm finished with you, Orochimaru, Tsunade replied in a cold tone, which made even the former White Snake of Konoha wary of her. Since as a medic, Tsunade knew practically everything about the human body. Specifically what points in the human body can hurt the most and how much pain the human body can take before dying. If Tsunade had not been a medic, she would have made a first-class interrogator, better than even the infamous Morino Ibiki of Konoha. Given how she could heal almost any injury without difficulty, allowing her to torture him, or anyone for that matter, in the worst possible manner, for however long she wanted. Not wanting to underestimate Tsunade any more than he already had, Orochimaru struck first and spat out his long tongue at the female Sannin. Seeing this, Tsunade tried to jump away to avoid it, but Orochimaru's tongue proved to be much faster than she was and wrapped itself around her neck. Kukukuku, I'll finish you, by breaking that pretty little neck of yours, Orochimaru chuckled. Perhaps I'll even take your head and mount it on my wall as a trophy after I destroy Konoha. Damn it, it's strong, Tsunade thought, as she tried to keep the tongue from choking the life out of her. Not to mention I don't have much chakra left after fighting for so long. Knowing she had to do something, Tsunade forced her right arm underneath the tongue, allowing her loosen the tongue grip around her neck and freeing herself. After which she then grabbed hold of Orochimaru's tongue and pulled the former Sannin towards her. Get over her, you bastard! Yelled the angry woman. It's not possible, thought Orochimaru before Tsunade dislocated his jaw and sent him flying with a single punch. But before he could even hit the title roof, Tsunade pulled him back by his tongue and yelled, I'm not done with you yet. After which she then threw him up into the air and jumped after him, where she attempted to use her Chutenkyaku to send the former Sannin crashing down through the roof. But before the attack could hit, Orochimaru used his body shedding technique to escape Tsunade's kick at the last second. After which Orochimaru, who had landed up high on the branch of a nearby tree, used his Sene Tajushu technique to launch several snakes from his right sleeve, and had them wrap around Tsunade's, holding her in midair and pinning her arms to her sides. He then pulled the woman over towards him and spat out his long tongue again and had it transform into a large snake, which was to bite her in the neck with its poison-filled fangs. Before the snake could reach her, Tsunade kicked it away with her foot and broke free from her snake binds, using her own natural strength. 6. Once she had broken free of the snakes, Tsunade quickly maneuvered herself in the air, so that her feet would land on the side of a nearby tree trunk, allowing her to propel herself forward, towards Orochimaru, who could not move away in time and was punched right in the face by Tsunade, who used her monstrous strength again and sent her former comrade crashing through another nearby tree and onto the titled roof. After tearing up the roof tiles, Orochimaru slowly got back onto his feet, were it not for the enhancement he had done to himself over the years, in his quest for immortality. The snake Sennin was certain he would be dead if not crippled after that last hit. Slowly the snake Sennin lifted himself up back onto his feet, but no sooner had he done this, he found himself under attack from a hail of shuriken. Acting quickly, Orochimaru moved out of the crater he had been standing in and evaded the spinning projectiles. But no sooner had his feet touched the tiles of the roof, he saw Tsunade appear above him and unleash a hail of senbon needles down on him, covering his entire body, which quickly turned into mud, revealing that he had replaced himself with an earth clone. Shortly after, Orochimaru emerged out of tiled floor behind Tsunade and attempted to attack her when her back was turned. But before he could strike, Tsunade spun around and kicked the fallen Sannin in the chest, sending him crashing into one of the nearby trees. She then took out 2 kunai from her robes and threw them at him, pinning his hands to the trunk of the tree, and preventing him from moving. After which Tsunade then channeled the majority of her remaining chakra into her right hand and raced towards Orochimaru, with the intent of finishing the man off once and for all. This is the end. Orochimaru. Realizing the situation he was in, Orochimaru acted quickly and spat out his long tongue at Tsunade again, which wrapped itself around the blonde woman's waist and threw her into one of the trees next to him. Once Tsunade had been dealt with, Orochimaru quickly freed himself from the kunai and threw them away. After which he slowly walked over to Tsunade, who was holding her injured shoulder and was panting heavily, indicating that she was just about at her limit. Kukukukuku, it seems you were right, Tsunade, this is the end for you, said Orochimaru, as he prepared to deal the final blow. But just as Orochimaru was about to finish Tsunade off, a sharp burning pain was felt from his hands. Hissing in pain, Orochimaru held his hands up to his face and could see that the wounds on his hands had not yet healed. He could also see that the veins on his arms were now bright red and visible. Seeing this, the injured Tsunade smirked in triumphant. Noticing the smirk on the blonde woman's face, Orochimaru quickly realized that not only was Tsunade the cause of what was happening to him, but also realized how she had done it. Poison, hissed Orochimaru angrily, realizing that Tsunade had coated the 2 kunai she had thrown at him with some kid of poison. Now normally poisons wouldn't affect him very much thanks to all his enhancements. But that didn't mean that he was immune to all poisons, especially one created by Tsunade, who was one of only 2 people in the entire shinobi world, who he knew could create a poison that could affect him like this. You did this to me. Of course, Tsunade replied with a smirk as she stood up. It's a little something I whipped up just for you. Right now you're starting to have trouble moving your figures, and you feel like your hands and arms are on fire from the inside. The poison is a bit slow in spreading, but it takes effect very quickly. In a little while you lose all movability in your hands and then your arms, as the poison kills all the cells in your hands and arms, and prevents them making new ones. Afterwards the poison will travel throughout your body through your bloodstream and repeat the same process in the rest of your body, where you will be unable to move any part of your body and be in constant agonizing pain. When Tsunade finished her explanation, Orochimaru was left sheeting in anger over what she had done to him. But before he could say or do anything, the female Sannin punched the pale-faced man hard in the face, sending him flying backwards. After being sent flying back, Orochimaru struggled to get back onto his feet, like Tsunade had explained. He was already having trouble moving his fingers and it would only be a matter of time before he lost his ability to use his hands, which already felt like they were on fire. Slowly Tsunade made her way over Orochimaru and lifted him up high into the air by the collar of his top. I'm only going to say this one more time, Orochimaru, end the Edo Tensei and free the Shodai and Nadaime Hokages Samas, and I might heal you. I think not, replied Orochimaru, where he slowly moved his finger to control the Kusanagi no Tsurugi, which was on the ground not far from him, causing it to levitate. He then commanded the sword to fly towards Tsunade and stab her in the back, while she was focused on him. After Orochimaru gave his command, the sword came in flying towards Tsunade, who had thrown the former Sannin on the ground after he refused to undo the Edo Tensei and remained unaware of the blade speeding towards her. Within seconds the sword pierced flesh and Orochimaru's face was covered in the blood of the sword's victim. But to the snake Sennin's surprise, the person who had been stabbed by the blade was not Tsunade. She had been pushed away by the another person at the last second, saving her from being stabbed. When Tsunade looked towards the person who had saved her, her eyes widened in recognition and in horror. For there with the Kusanagi no Tsurugi pierced through his heart from the back was her only child, Naruto, who quickly fell to the ground. Naruto! Screamed Tsunade when she saw her son fall to the ground with the sword through his back. Hearing Tsunade's screams, Jiraiya, Sarutobi and the 2 Hokages halted their fighting and turned to the direction of Tsunade and saw the mortal wounded Naruto fall to the floor. Kid! Cried Jiraiya, before he took off to Tsunade and Naruto, using the smoke screen Pa had just created with a smoke bomb as cover to move away from the Shodai Hokage. At the same time the Sandaime, who was battling the Nadaime Hokage, slammed Enma into the former Hokage's stomach, sending him flying. After which the Sandaime raced towards Tsunade and Naruto and thought, Naruto. Enter Naruto OST Sadness and Sorrow. As Naruto lay on the ground the young boy began to cough raggedly with blood coming out of his mouth and wound. Naruto! Cried a panicking Tsunade as she made her way over to her son and quickly pulled the long sword out of his body and used the Shosen Jutsu, mystical palm technique, to heal his wound. No, not again, please Kami, not again, not my son, not my Naru-chan. Tsunade thought as she started having flashbacks to when her brother Nawaki was killed and when her beloved Dan died as she tried to heal him. Car-chan, mumbled Naruto as he looked up to his mother, who was busy trying to heal him. Don't talk, save your strength. Car-chan is going to heal you right up, Tsunade said quickly as she tried to heal the wound before Naruto bleed out. Ah, are you alright? The blonde boy asked. Don't worry about me, worry about yourself for once. Tsunade shouted as tears start to slowly fall from her eyes. You never listen to me. You away do something reckless or foolish. If you had just stayed out of this you wouldn't have been hurt so badly. Hey, I guess I messed up again, said Naruto with a painful smirk before he coughed up more blood. Hold on Naru-chan, please just hold on, don't die on me, don't leave me. Begged the weeping woman after seeing Naruto cough more blood, and was trying frantically to heal the young boy. There, so much blood, why is there so much blood? Thought the hysteric Tsunade as she tried to stop the bleeding in time. Seeing his mother crying, Naruto slowly raised his hand and wiped away the tears falling from his mother's eyes, inadvertently covering her right cheek in his blood. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make you cry, I just wanted to help yo, said Naruto but stopped suddenly, where his hand fell from her cheek and his eyes closed. Naruto. No. Cried Tsunade as she put all her remaining chakra into her mystical palm. At this point both Sarutobi and Jiraiya arrived at the scene. No, thought Jiraiya, when he saw the weeping Tsunade desperately trying to heal Naruto, but before he could walk over or say anything he was stopped by the Sannin, who had a sorrowful look on his face and shook his head, indicating that it was already too late. After fighting and surviving in all three shinobi world wars and countless other battles throughout the years, the Sannin could almost feel death, and knew Naruto was gone. Please, please, please. Naru-chan wake up, please wake up for Ka-chan, begged the weeping Tsunade as she continued try and heal Naruto, only to be stopped by Jiraiya. Tsunade, it's too late, he's gone. No, he isn't gone, he can't be, I won't let him, rounded Tsunade angrily as she tried to push Jiraiya away from her and continued to try and heal Naruto. Tsunade, it's too late, he's dead, I'm sorry, said Jiraiya more forcefully and pulled Tsunade to him, who struggled at first, but soon stopped and started to cry into Jiraiya's chest. No, please, Kami, please no, I can't lose him. I can't, he's all I have left, cried Tsunade. I'm sorry Tsunade, really am, said Jiraiya as he held the weeping woman to his chest, while he fought back his own tears. Seeing Naruto's still lifeless body hurt him more than any injury he had ever suffered in his entire life. It was a wound to the heart, one that would never heal. Seeing this, the two elder toad sages on Jiraiya's shoulder bowed their heads. I'm sorry Jiraiya-chan, I know how much he meant to you, said Pa. Poor tadpole, said Mara's look over at Naruto sadly, and closed her eyes in sorrow, since she could only imagine Tsunade's pain and grief, as parents should not outlive the children. Naruto, thought the Sannin as he looked down at the boy, who was a grandson to him in all but blood with a pained grief-stricken look. I'm sorry, everything today is my fault, you should not have had to pay for my mistake. Sarutobi, I'm sorry, I know how much you cared for the boy, spoke Enma, as she tried to console his friend in his grief. Naruto Dono, thought the Katsuya clone sadly, who like the Sannin blamed herself for what happened to the blonde boy. For if she had refused to bring Naruto here, he would probably still be alive now. After a minute or so, the Tsunade's grief-stricken cries could be heard throughout the stadium. Naruto. That will be it for this video. If you want more, comment down below, like, subscribe. And see you guys later.